Tonight, we travel back into one of the quiet roads of the old world, to a place where movement never truly stopped, though it often slowed beneath the weight of heat, dust, and tired feet. Far from loud cities and crowded harbors near the sea, there stretched a long network of roads. Some were little more than soft dirt paths worn by sandals, hooves, and wagon wheels. Others curved slowly through dry valleys where warm wind drifted gently across the land. Together, these roads carried people, food, stories, cloth, spices, worries, hopes, and the slow passing rhythm of everyday life. This was the Silk Road. Not a single road, not one straight line across the land, but many roads that wandered quietly through deserts, mountains, river valleys, and sleeping villages. During the day, sunlight pressed warmly against stone walls and dusty ground. At night, the stars spread gently across the sky while travelers rested beside dim fires and listened to distant animal sounds fading into darkness. But tonight, we will not follow kings or armies. We will walk slowly beside ordinary people. We will spend time among workers whose names disappeared long ago. We will move beside merchants carrying heavy bags, farmers bending beneath the morning sun, cooks warming bread before sunrise, scribes scratching careful marks onto paper, and tired travelers pulling blankets over themselves after long days on the road. The world moves slowly here. Nothing rushes. The morning arrives gently. And somewhere in the quiet distance, before the sky begins to brighten, a caravan town slowly wakes. Before sunrise, the air still feels cool. The desert has not yet given itself to heat. The wind moves softly through narrow streets built from clay and mud brick. Low homes stand close together. Their walls hold the memory of yesterday's warmth. Wooden doors remain shut. Thin smoke has not yet risen from cooking fires. Most people are still asleep. Inside one small home near the edge of the market road, a merchant wakes before the first light touches the sky. His sleeping mat rests on hard ground covered by woven cloth. Beside him, his wife and children still sleep quietly, wrapped beneath rough blankets. The room is small. Clay jars sit against the wall. Baskets hold grain gathered weeks before. Dust gathers gently in corners where sandals rest from the day before. The merchant rises slowly. His body feels heavy. Yesterday had been long. Travel often left the muscles sore. Walking beside animals, loading goods, bargaining through hot afternoons, sleeping lightly through uncertain nights, none of it came easily. He stretches carefully. Outside, the world remains silent. Only the sound of distant animals stirs softly in the darkness. A donkey shifts somewhere nearby. A camel breathes heavily in a quiet yard. Wind moves against dry walls. Soon the morning labor will begin. But for a few moments longer, everything feels still. The merchant lights a small oil lamp. Its warm glow touches the room softly. Nothing shines brightly here. Light stays gentle, quiet, and low. His wife slowly wakes beside him. She says little. There is no hurry for many words before dawn. She moves carefully toward a clay oven built near the corner of the home. Soon flour mixes with water. Hands knead soft dough. Bread must be prepared before the day begins. This happens nearly every morning. Daily life along the Silk Road often followed familiar rhythms. Much of history moved quietly through repetition. Wake before sunrise. Prepare food. Care for animals. Travel if necessary. Work until tiredness settled heavily into the body. Return home or stop where darkness arrived. Simple routines held entire lives together. Outside, other homes slowly begin to wake. A door opens somewhere nearby. Soft footsteps move against stone. Someone coughs. Someone sweeps dust away from a doorway, though tomorrow it will surely return. The first signs of smoke begin rising into the morning air. Breakfast remains simple. Warm flat bread. Dried fruit when available. Sometimes cheese made from goat milk. Sometimes thick porridge. Sometimes only bread dipped into water or tea. Food depended on weather, trade, harvest, and fortune. For poor families, meals could feel uncertain. Bad harvests reached farther than one village. When caravans struggled to arrive, food prices climbed quietly but painfully. Workers ate less. Families stretched grain carefully. Even merchants sometimes worried when roads became unsafe or seasons turned difficult. Yet morning still came. And life continued. In the market quarter, another worker wakes. He is not a merchant. He repairs sandals. His hands tell the story of his work. Rough fingers. Small scars. Nails darkened from years of leather and dust. He sleeps near his workshop because work often begins early. Travelers need repairs before they leave town. Sandals wear down quickly across dry roads. Leather cracks. Straps break. Dust settles into every small space. The sandal maker sits outside while morning coolness still remains. He enjoys this hour. Soon the heat will arrive. By midday, the streets may shimmer beneath sunlight. But now, before sunrise, the town still feels soft. Quiet. Patient. He begins working while birds slowly wake overhead. Nearby, another family starts the day beside animals kept in a small enclosure. A boy carries water carefully. His father checks harnesses for camels that will leave later. The animals themselves rise slowly. Camels are not graceful when standing. Their movements feel heavy and uneven. Yet they remain patient creatures. Many people along the Silk Road depended on them. Without camels, some journeys through desert regions became nearly impossible. The roads could be harsh. Dry wind. Long stretches without water. Heat pressing endlessly from above. Travelers learned patience. Animals carried not only goods but comfort. Familiar sounds of hooves and breathing often help people feel less alone during long travel. A caravan leader steps outside into the growing light. He studies the sky. Travel often depended on weather. Too much heat made movement dangerous. Strong wind could bury roads beneath drifting sand. Clouds mattered. Water mattered. Every small choice mattered. He drinks quietly and waits. Soon others gather. The caravan today will travel west for many days, perhaps longer if roads prove difficult. Bales of cloth sit prepared. Bundles of dried goods rest nearby. Small boxes hold delicate objects wrapped carefully for transport. Not everything crossing the Silk Road was silk, though silk became famous enough to lend its name to the roads themselves. Ordinary goods moved constantly. Salt. Wool. Paper. Tea. Metal tools. Spices. Medicines. Glass. Simple household items. And sometimes letters. Messages crossed enormous distances slowly. Weeks passed. Months sometimes passed. Yet people waited. Because even slow news mattered. As sunlight finally stretches across rooftops, the market grows busier. Voices remain soft at first. Morning tiredness lingers. Merchants uncover goods. Bakers prepare fresh bread. Workers carry baskets. Dust rises gently beneath footsteps. There is movement everywhere, though nothing feels rushed. The Silk Road lived through patience. Travel demanded patience. Trade demanded patience. Daily life demanded patience. At the edge of town stands a small resting place for travelers. Its courtyard still smells faintly of animals and yesterday's cooking fires. Some travelers are already awake. Others remain asleep beneath blankets, recovering from long journeys. One old traveler sits alone drinking warm tea. His journey has lasted months. His back aches. His feet hurt. Travel sounds exciting in stories, but reality often felt exhausting. Roads became lonely. Bodies grew sore. Food could feel repetitive. Sleeping conditions changed constantly. Sometimes travelers rested in busy inns. Sometimes under open sky. Sometimes beside strangers. Sometimes beside fear. Bandits sometimes troubled certain roads. Illness followed long travel. Fever spread easily in crowded resting places. Yet people still moved. Because movement meant survival. Trade fed towns. Towns fed travelers. Farmers sold grain. Craft workers sold tools. Animal keepers found work. Bakers found customers. Every ordinary worker became part of something larger without always realizing it. As the morning grows brighter, farmers outside the town already labor in dry fields. Life along the Silk Road did not happen only on roads. Many people rarely traveled at all. They stayed near rivers, wells, and farmland. Food mattered more than distant trade. Water mattered more than stories of faraway cities. A farmer bends low beneath early sunlight. The work feels familiar. Always familiar. Seeds. Water. Waiting. Hope. Sometimes harvests came kindly. Sometimes weather changed everything. Too little rain could turn months of effort into worry. Families watched the sky carefully. Even small clouds offered hope. The farmer wipes sweat from his face. Already the heat slowly rises. Nearby, children help carry tools. Work belonged to everyone. Even young hands learned responsibility early. Families survived together. One person alone could rarely manage everything. In another village farther along the road, a young scribe begins his morning. His room smells faintly of paper and ink. He works for merchants who cannot always write. Some need records kept carefully. Debts remembered. Trades counted. Letters copied. Writing feels slow. Careful. Patient. His brush moves steadily. Outside, market sounds drift inward. Voices rise softly. Animals shuffle. Someone laughs quietly. Someone argues gently over price. Ordinary sounds of ordinary days. The scribe pauses often. Writing tires the hand. Eyes strain beneath dim light. But careful work brings steady income. Not riches. Only enough. Enough mattered. Many lives along the Silk Road rested somewhere between comfort and uncertainty. Too much illness could ruin a season. One lost caravan could create hardship. A broken animal could slow everything. And yet, people still found moments of peace. At midday, many workers pause. Heat grows heavy now. The sun presses down firmly. Shadows shorten. Stone walls grow warm. The smell of food rises from homes and roadside kitchens. Flatbread warms near fire. Soup cooks slowly. Tea cools beside shaded doorways. Workers sit quietly when they can. Even strong bodies grow tired. The desert teaches limits. Heat teaches limits. A traveler rests beneath cloth shade. His face carries dust from many roads. His sandals are worn thin. He eats slowly. There is comfort in simple meals after difficult travel. Warm food. Stillness. Shade. The chance to stop moving for a little while. Sometimes rest feels like luxury. And during quiet afternoons like this one, many people simply wait. Wait for cooler hours. Wait for business. Wait for travelers. Wait for evening. Time moves differently here. Slowly. Gently. Like warm wind crossing old roads. The day continues quietly. The afternoon settles over the caravan town with a kind of sleepy heaviness. The sunlight no longer feels gentle now. It rests firmly upon the earth, warming rooftops of mud brick and stretching long across dusty roads. The market slows beneath the weight of the day. Voices soften. Even animals seem quieter. Many workers move more slowly during these hours. A merchant who spent the morning speaking with travelers now sits beneath a shaded cloth near his stall. Beside him rest folded fabrics carried from distant places. Some are rough and simple for ordinary households. Others feel softer beneath careful hands. Dust settles quietly along their edges while warm air moves through the narrow market street. He drinks water carefully. Water must never be wasted. Along many parts of the Silk Road, water shaped daily life more than wealth did. A traveler carrying silver could still fear thirst. Wells became important places. Rivers offered comfort where deserts offered none. Villages built near water often grew slowly into resting places for tired travelers. And tiredness lived everywhere here. The roads demanded much from the body. Feet swelled after long walking. Shoulders ached beneath supplies. Faces darkened beneath the endless sun. Sleep came unevenly during travel, often interrupted by unfamiliar sounds, shifting animals, changing weather, or worries about tomorrow's journey. Not far from the market, inside a small courtyard surrounded by low walls, women kneel beside clay bowls preparing the evening meal long before sunset arrives. Cooking takes time. Firewood must be gathered or traded for. Grain must be ground. Dough must be prepared carefully. Water carried from wells feels heavier after long days. One woman moves slowly as she works. Her back aches from lifting baskets earlier that morning. Yet there is still bread to bake. Still vegetables to cut. Still hungry children who will soon return from helping nearby. Life moves through effort. Quiet effort. The sort of work history often forgets. The woman brushes loose flour from her hands and listens to the sounds drifting through the open doorway. Somewhere nearby, a donkey complains loudly. Children laugh. Someone drags wooden crates across stone. A distant conversation rises and fades. The smell of warm bread slowly fills the courtyard. Nearby, an older man rests against a shaded wall after spending much of the morning repairing harnesses for animals. Leather work mattered greatly here. A weak strap could become dangerous during travel. A broken harness in the middle of dry land brought delay, worry, and sometimes real hardship. The old craftsman rubs tired fingers together. Years of work live inside his hands. The skin feels rough. The joints feel stiff. Long hours leave quiet marks upon the body. Many workers along these roads carried aches that never truly disappeared. A sore back. A painful knee. Hands made tired from years of repeating the same labor. Yet people rarely stopped. There was always something needing attention. Always another task. Always tomorrow waiting. Near the edge of town, where roads open toward distant hills and desert stretches beyond sight, a caravan slowly prepares to leave. Travel often begins later in the day when the worst heat begins to soften. Camels kneel patiently while heavy loads are secured. Bundles of wool. Clay jars. Small chests wrapped carefully in cloth. Food for the road. Water skins tied tightly. The caravan leader moves quietly between animals, checking each load. He says little. Long journeys teach silence. There is comfort in routine. Count supplies. Check straps. Watch the sky. Know the road. Hope for calm weather. Travelers stand together speaking softly before departure. Some know each other well. Others met only days ago. Roads often gathered strangers together. People from different places shared fires, meals, stories, and worries. Language sometimes changed from one town to the next, but tiredness looked much the same everywhere. Dust on clothing. Heavy eyes. Sunburned faces. Quiet hunger. A shared wish for safe arrival. One younger traveler sits alone nearby. He feels nervous. This will be his first journey far from home. He misses familiar sounds already. The familiar smell of bread from his family's kitchen. The small sleeping room he shared with brothers. The quiet morning sounds of home. Travel changes people slowly. At first, roads feel unfamiliar. Then weeks pass. New routines appear. The body learns distance. Feet become stronger. Silence feels less strange. Yet homesickness often stays quietly beside travelers for long stretches of road. The caravan finally rises into motion. Camels stand heavily. Feet press into dry earth. Dust lifts gently into warm afternoon air. And slowly, without hurry, they begin moving westward. No loud beginning. No dramatic farewell. Only movement. Slow and steady. The road stretches ahead. Behind them, town life continues quietly. In shaded workshops, workers remain busy. A potter wipes sweat from his forehead while shaping wet clay. His hands move carefully. Steady pressure. Years of practice. Bowls, jars, and cups matter deeply in ordinary life. Water storage. Cooking. Trade. Simple needs shape daily labor. The workshop feels warm. Very warm. Clay dust clings softly to skin. The smell of damp earth lingers near stacked pottery drying against the wall. He works patiently. Carelessness wastes effort. Broken pottery means lost time. Lost time means lost income. Outside, afternoon slowly begins its quiet turn toward evening. Shadows lengthen. The air shifts gently. The market wakes again after the slow heaviness of midday. Travelers return from short errands. Workers finish tasks. Bakers begin preparing fresh bread for evening meals. A faint breeze carries the smell of spices and cooking smoke through narrow streets. This hour feels softer somehow. The sharp edge of heat begins to loosen. A fisherman sits beside a river far from the desert road. Not every part of the Silk Road crossed dry land. Some places rested near rivers where water moved quietly through valleys filled with reeds and green fields. The fisherman waits patiently. Fishing teaches patience too. Water moves gently. Light dances softly across its surface. The sounds here differ from the desert. Birds. Water against reeds. Quiet wind. Faraway voices drifting from small farms nearby. He thinks about supper. About home. About the small room waiting for him after sunset. Simple thoughts. Ordinary thoughts. History often moves through such small moments. Not only great cities or rulers, but ordinary worries. Food. Work. Family. Sleep. As evening comes closer, tired workers slowly return home. Sandals drag softly through dust-covered roads. Children carry small bundles of gathered wood. Mothers call quietly from doorways. Smoke rises again into cooling air. Cooking fires glow warmly against fading sunlight. Inside homes, meals remain simple but comforting. Bread. Stew. Goat milk. Rice in some places. Dried fruit when available. Sometimes lentils cooked slowly. Sometimes onions roasted near warm coals. People eat together when possible. After long days, conversation feels slower. Bodies feel heavier. Children yawn. Workers stretch tired muscles. Someone tells a quiet story about a traveler seen earlier in the market. Someone laughs softly. Someone simply sits in silence. Silence often feels welcome after crowded days. Night arrives gradually. The sky darkens slowly above the old roads. Stars begin appearing. One after another. Travelers still moving across open land look upward often. The stars matter. Guidance comes from them. Comfort too. Far from crowded places, night skies feel endless. Cold sometimes arrives quickly after sunset in desert lands. Travelers pull blankets close. Small fires flicker softly. Someone boils tea. Someone rubs aching feet. Someone quietly repairs worn sandals before sleeping. The caravan that left town earlier now rests in an open place beside low hills. Animals settle nearby. The travelers eat quietly. No one speaks loudly. Long roads drain energy. Tomorrow will bring more walking. More dust. More waiting. More heat. One older traveler lies back and watches the stars. He has traveled many years. He knows these feelings well. The quiet loneliness of roads. The strange comfort of familiar routines repeated in unfamiliar places. The way distant villages begin to feel briefly like home. The way exhaustion softens worry. He closes his eyes slowly. Nearby, the soft sound of wind moves across the sleeping land. Far behind them, the caravan town also grows quiet. Doors close. Oil lamps flicker. Animals settle into stillness. In small homes, families drift toward sleep. Workers stretch out on woven mats. Children curl beneath blankets. Some rooms feel warm. Some cool. Outside, the roads remain silent for now. Only the faint whisper of desert wind travels through darkness. And somewhere far beyond sight, other travelers still walk beneath moonlight, moving carefully across the ancient world while most people sleep. The night deepens. The world grows softer. And the old roads wait patiently for morning. Morning returns slowly to the Silk Road. Long before sunlight reaches the rooftops of sleeping towns, before market voices rise into the cool air, and before workers begin another day of careful labor, the world rests in a soft quietness. Night still lingers. The stars remain overhead, though they begin to fade little by little. The desert feels colder now than many people imagine. During darkness, warmth escapes into the wide open sky, leaving the ground cool beneath tired feet. Blankets pull tighter around sleeping travelers. Fires shrink into glowing embers. The caravan resting beyond the hills begins to stir. Not quickly. Nothing happens quickly here. A camel shifts heavily in the dim light, making a low sound before settling again. One traveler turns in his sleep. Another quietly rises, rubbing cold hands together before stepping toward the remains of last night's fire. The morning work begins early because the road grows harder once heat arrives. The older traveler who watched the stars the night before wakes slowly. His joints ache. Travel does not grow easier with age. His knees feel stiff after sleeping on hard earth. His shoulders remain sore from many days of lifting supplies. Dust clings to his clothes, settled deep into folds of cloth and leather. Still, he rises. The road waits. It always waits. Nearby, someone prepares warm tea. The smell drifts softly through the cool air. Simple comforts matter greatly after nights outdoors. Warm drink. A little bread. Quiet company before sunrise. The younger traveler, still adjusting to life away from home, sits near the fire rubbing sleep from his eyes. He slept poorly. The ground felt unfamiliar. The sounds of animals woke him several times. The night wind made strange movements across the hills. Everything still feels unfamiliar to him. Yet slowly, little by little, he begins learning the rhythm of the road. People rarely speak much this early. Tiredness softens conversation. Most simply eat quietly. Someone tears bread into smaller pieces. Someone checks supplies. Someone tightens sandals already worn from days of walking. Soon, loads are secured again. Water skins checked. Animals gathered. The caravan begins moving before sunrise fully arrives. The sky slowly changes color. Dark blue softens toward pale silver. Then touches of warm gold begin appearing far in the distance. As they travel, the world feels still. Very still. Footsteps settle softly into dust. Camel bells move gently in the morning quiet. The wind drifts slowly across open land. This hour often feels peaceful. The hardest heat has not yet arrived. The road stretches calmly ahead. Some travelers enjoy this time most of all. Morning gives the body a chance to forget yesterday's tiredness for a little while. For a brief time, movement feels lighter. Hope feels easier. Far behind them, back in the town, workers begin waking again. In a narrow mud-brick home near the market road, a baker rises before everyone else. Bread waits for no one. His work begins while stars still remain overhead. The bakery smells faintly of ash from yesterday's fires. Flour dust rests lightly across wooden tables and clay floors. Outside, the street remains quiet. He kneads dough slowly. Strong hands press and fold. Press and fold again. Years of repeating the same movements have made the work almost automatic. The body remembers routines. Muscles remember effort. Soon the clay oven warms. Heat slowly spreads through the small room. As morning approaches, the smell of baking bread begins drifting into nearby streets. This smell greets many people before sunrise. Warm. Comforting. Familiar. Even tired workers pause when they notice it. Food brings comfort before long labor begins. Nearby, women carry clay jars toward the well. Water must be collected early. The cooler morning hours make heavy work easier. They move together through narrow streets speaking softly. Some conversations stay quiet and practical. Who feels sick? How much grain remains? Whether travelers arrived late yesterday. Whether rain may come someday. Life often moved through such small conversations. Ordinary concerns. Nothing grand. Yet these small concerns held families together. At the well, people wait patiently. Wells become gathering places in many towns. A place for news. A place for routine. A place where people pause briefly before work begins. Water splashes softly. Ropes creak. Heavy jars rise slowly. The work feels tiring even before sunrise. Yet daily life depends upon such effort. Everything takes labor. Bread. Water. Travel. Farming. Trade. Even rest must be earned. As sunlight slowly reaches the rooftops, the market begins waking once more. Wooden stalls open. Dust rises beneath sandals. Animals arrive carrying goods. The day begins again almost exactly as yesterday did. But not entirely. Small changes always arrive quietly. A new traveler. Fresh rumors from distant roads. Different weather. Different worries. Different hopes. One merchant arrives carrying rolled carpets from another city many weeks away. His journey was long. Long enough for clothing to wear thin at the edges. Long enough for his beard to grow unevenly. Long enough for him to forget the comfort of sleeping in the same place twice. He feels tired. Very tired. Still, trade must continue. He unloads goods carefully. Nearby, another merchant arranges spices inside small containers. Their scent drifts through the market. Warm smells. Earthy smells. Things gathered from distant lands now resting briefly inside one dusty town. Travel connected many places slowly. A person might never leave home yet still touch objects carried across enormous distances. Tea from far hills. Cloth woven elsewhere. Strange fruits dried for travel. Stories from roads never seen. The Silk Road moved quietly through ordinary life like this. Not always through grand exchanges, but through small daily moments. Meanwhile, beyond town, farmers already labor beneath growing sunlight. One family works together near a narrow river. Water glimmers softly beside green patches of crops carefully protected from heat. The father bends low to examine young plants. The mother gathers tools. Children help carry baskets. Everyone works. Everyone contributes. There is little room for idleness here. The heat will soon grow heavy. Work done early matters most. Sweat gathers quickly. Hands grow sore. Backs ache. Yet routines continue. Farming asks patience. Always patience. The waiting never truly ends. Waiting for growth. Waiting for rain. Waiting for harvest. Waiting to see if enough food will remain for winter. Sometimes harvests disappoint. Families quietly eat less. Workers become thinner. Markets grow tense. Prices rise. Yet people continue forward because they must. Ordinary survival often feels quiet rather than dramatic. 1,000 small efforts repeated day after day. By late morning, the heat slowly strengthens. Streets shimmer slightly. Stone walls warm beneath sunlight. Animals seek shade when they can. Workers wipe sweat from their faces. Many cover their heads against the sun. A blacksmith works inside a hot workshop where heat gathers heavily. Metal glows faintly. Hammer strikes rise into the warm air. Slow. Steady. Careful. Tools matter here. Knives. Horseshoes. Metal fittings. Repairing things becomes important because replacement often costs too much. Broken tools bring problems. Strong tools help families survive. The blacksmith pauses often to wipe sweat from tired eyes. The workshop feels exhausting. Yet he continues. There are always repairs waiting. Always another request. Nearby, a young servant carries food across town for a wealthy household. His legs feel tired already. He began working before sunrise. His sandals feel thin. His stomach feels hungry. Still, he moves carefully. Spilling food brings trouble. Life looks different depending on where one stands. Some people sleep beneath larger roofs. Some eat more comfortably. Yet many workers share something common. Long days. Heavy tiredness. Quiet hope for easier tomorrows. As midday approaches, movement slows again. The town softens beneath the heavy sun. Workers search for shade. Doors remain partly closed against heat. Cooking smells drift lazily through warm streets. Some people rest briefly. Others continue because stopping is impossible. The road outside town remains active too. Travelers continue walking. Step after dusty step. Sometimes singing softly. Sometimes silent. Sometimes lost in thought. The caravan moving westward pauses beside a narrow resting place where a little shade offers relief. The younger traveler drinks water slowly. He feels exhausted. Travel has become harder than he imagined. His feet hurt. His shoulders ache. The excitement he once felt has softened into simple endurance. Yet there are moments of peace too. Morning wind. Shared meals. Quiet stars. The strange beauty of distant lands moving slowly past. The older traveler notices his tired expression and quietly offers him dried fruit. No speech at first. Just kindness. Roads often teach people to care for one another in small ways. Sharing water. Helping lift supplies. Watching for sickness. Loneliness feels lighter when kindness appears. The caravan rests quietly. Animals chew slowly. Dust settles. Some travelers sleep briefly beneath shade. Others stare into distance, lost in private thoughts. The world feels warm. Slow. Endless somehow. And little by little, the long road continues carrying them forward through the ancient world. By the time the sun begins its slow journey downward, the day feels heavy upon the shoulders of nearly everyone. Heat lingers quietly in walls, stones, and tired muscles. The afternoon stretches long across the Silk Road, not with urgency, but with endurance. Workers continue because work must continue. Travelers walk because roads still remain ahead. Bakers prepare tomorrow's bread before today has fully ended. Farmers finish tasks while daylight still allows. Life moves gently here, though never easily. In the caravan resting place beside the dusty road, the younger traveler sits quietly near a low stone wall. His legs ache more than they did yesterday. He notices this now. Every morning begins with stiffness. Every evening ends with soreness. His sandals no longer feel comfortable. Fine dust settles inside them no matter how often he empties them. The road leaves small marks everywhere. Dust on clothing. Dust inside blankets. Dust resting quietly inside the folds of bags. The older traveler sits nearby, repairing a worn leather strap. His movements are slow. Patient. Nothing feels hurried after many years of travel. He has learned that roads do not care about impatience. They simply continue. The younger traveler watches him quietly. At first, long travel felt lonely. But companionship arrives in unexpected ways. Sometimes through shared meals. Sometimes through silent understanding. Sometimes through the simple comfort of someone familiar sitting nearby at sunset. The older traveler finally speaks, his voice soft from tiredness. Tomorrow will feel easier. Not because the road changes, but because the body slowly learns. The younger traveler nods. He wants to believe this. In truth, many people along the Silk Road learn to live beside discomfort. Heat. Cold nights. Sore muscles. Uncertainty. Bodies adjusted slowly. Not perfectly, but enough. A little farther down the road, several camel handlers finish unloading supplies near a resting house built for travelers. The building stands plain and practical, made from sun-dried brick. Its walls are thick to protect against heat during the day and cold during the night. Inside the courtyard, animals settle into familiar places. Camels kneel heavily. Bundles are untied. Water is shared carefully. The smell of animals mixes softly with smoke drifting from cooking fires. This place feels temporary, yet comforting. Many travelers will sleep here only one night before moving onward. Still, for tired bodies, one quiet night indoors feels valuable. Very valuable. Inside, a woman prepares a large pot of stew for guests. The work begins long before hunger fully arrives. She stirs slowly while steam rises into warm evening air. The kitchen feels hot. Wood crackles softly beneath clay pots. Nearby rests fresh bread baked earlier. Simple food. Filling food. The sort that helps tired people sleep deeply. Travelers often remember meals more than roads. A warm bowl after hard walking. Fresh bread after days of dryness. Cool water after endless heat. These things stay in memory. Outside the resting house, shadows begin growing longer. The harsh brightness of afternoon slowly softens. Children appear in dusty streets again after hiding from midday heat. Some run barefoot. Some help parents finish chores. Some simply sit quietly beside older relatives listening to familiar stories repeated many times before. In nearby towns, evening routines quietly begin. A farmer washes tired hands near a small stream. His back aches deeply today. The morning began before sunrise, and work continued beneath heavy heat. His family waits at home. There will be bread tonight. Soup too. Simple food, but enough. Enough matters. Many people did not expect luxury. Only enough grain. Enough water. Enough strength to rise tomorrow. The farmer walks slowly toward home. Dust clings to the bottom of his clothes. His shoulders feel stiff. Yet the evening air brings some relief. Coolness slowly returns. Bird sounds soften. The day loosens its grip. In the market town, merchants begin covering goods before darkness arrives. Careful hands fold cloth. Wooden shutters close. Coins are counted quietly. Some days bring profit. Others disappointment. Trade depends on many things. Weather. Road safety. Animal health. Luck. A delayed caravan can change everything. A poor season can empty streets. Still, each morning merchants return. Routine builds resilience. One spice merchant breathes deeply while packing his small containers. The smell lingers pleasantly around him. Warm scents gathered from lands far away. Though he travels little now, his work still connects him to distant places. Strange mountains. Busy ports. Remote villages. He hears stories from travelers. Small pieces of the world arriving one conversation at a time. Stories mattered deeply here. Long roads carried more than goods. They carried voices. Rumors. Dreams. Questions. Memories. At night, travelers often traded stories beside firelight. Nothing grand sometimes. Only ordinary things. A difficult crossing. A kind stranger. A market full of noise. A village known for warm bread. Simple moments become precious when life feels uncertain. As darkness slowly approaches, lamps begin appearing inside homes. Soft light glows through windows. Nothing bright. Only warm flickering shadows. Inside one mud brick house near the market, a family gathers for supper. The room feels small but familiar. A woven mat rests across part of the floor. Clay bowls sit neatly nearby. The smell of lentils fills the room softly. Children sit close together. Their faces still dusty from the day. Parents move slowly now. Tiredness shows itself quietly. Slower voices. Long pauses. Gentle sighs. One child grows sleepy while eating. Another quietly leans against a parent's shoulder. Outside, footsteps continue through narrow streets. People finishing late tasks. Workers returning home. Animals being settled for the night. The rhythm of evening feels calm. Predictable. Comforting. In another part of town, a healer prepares simple remedies. Life along the Silk Road brought sickness often. Long journeys exhausted bodies. Water sometimes carried illness. Crowded resting places spread fever easily. Small injuries became dangerous if ignored. The healer works carefully beneath candlelight. Dry herbs rest in small containers. Simple oils line shelves. Knowledge passed quietly from one generation to another. No certainty. Only experience. Observation. Hope. Sometimes people recovered. Sometimes they did not. Loss existed here too. Quietly. Without announcement. Life continued beside uncertainty. Yet comfort still mattered. A warm hand. Rest. Soup. Quiet company during difficult nights. Meanwhile, far outside the town, the caravan settles once again beneath open sky. Tonight, there will be no resting house. Only blankets. A small fire. The wide night overhead. The younger traveler feels exhausted enough that even hard ground seems welcome now. His body slowly adjusts. Fatigue softens discomfort. He sits beside the older traveler while tea warms gently near glowing coals. The stars begin appearing overhead. First one. Then another. Then many. Far from towns, the night sky feels impossibly large. The younger traveler stares upward quietly. At home, he rarely noticed stars. Too busy. Too familiar. But out here, they seem endless. Calm. Silent. The older traveler points toward familiar patterns overhead. Travelers often learn stars carefully. They help guide movement through lonely places. Yet stars offered more than direction. They offered companionship. Something steady. Something unchanged while roads shifted endlessly beneath tired feet. The fire crackles softly. Someone nearby hums quietly while repairing clothing. Another traveler rubs sore knees. Someone else already sleeps beneath layered blankets. Bodies surrender quickly after long days. Exhaustion comes gently. The night air cools. Warm desert wind fades into softer movement. Silence grows. Not complete silence. Never complete. Animals breathe nearby. Fabric moves lightly in the wind. A distant bird calls once before quiet returns. The younger traveler lies back. He still misses home. Still misses familiar walls. Still misses easy sleep. Yet tonight feels slightly different. The road feels less frightening now. Less strange. Perhaps because tiredness leaves little room for fear. Or perhaps because routine begins quietly forming around him. Wake early. Walk. Rest. Eat. Sleep. Repeat. Simple rhythms slowly shape unfamiliar places into something gentler. Back in town, homes grow dark one by one. Fires grow smaller. Doors remain shut. Voices disappear. Workers drift into heavy sleep after long labor. Some dream softly. Some sleep too deeply for dreams. Outside, the old roads stretch silently across the sleeping land. Waiting. Patient as ever. Ready for morning to return once again. Morning comes softly again across the long roads of the Silk Road. The darkness does not disappear all at once. Instead, it slowly loosens its hold over the land. Stars fade one by one. Cool air drifts gently through sleeping camps, narrow streets, quiet farms, and resting places built from old sun-dried brick. The world still feels hushed, as though even time itself wishes to remain still a little longer. Far from towns, beside the small fire that now glows only faintly beneath pale morning light, the caravan begins another day. No one wakes eagerly. Bodies remain tired. The older traveler opens his eyes slowly and sits carefully, his back stiff from sleeping on hard ground. He stretches his shoulders and quietly watches the morning arrive. The younger traveler still sleeps nearby, wrapped tightly beneath a blanket. His face looks calmer than it did before. Even difficult roads slowly become familiar. The body learns. The mind adjusts. Small fears soften little by little. Nearby, someone quietly adds dry branches to the fire. A small flame returns. Tea begins warming again. There is comfort in familiar routines, even temporary ones. Especially temporary ones. A traveler who spends many weeks moving between distant places learns to value small moments of steadiness. Warm tea before sunrise. Bread shared quietly. The sound of familiar footsteps nearby. The same faces waking beside the same road. Simple things begin to feel important. The younger traveler slowly wakes. He blinks against the pale sky and listens. Someone pours tea. Someone coughs softly. A camel shifts nearby, making a low sound in the cool air. The wind feels gentler this morning. He notices this immediately. Yesterday, everything felt uncomfortable. Today, he feels only tired. And somehow, that feels like progress. The caravan leader already moves between supplies, checking straps and counting water carefully. Water remains precious. Always precious. Along much of the Silk Road, journeys depended upon knowing where water could be found. Wells marked survival. Small rivers offered relief. Travelers remembered safe places carefully. Mistakes became dangerous. A poor decision on dry roads could turn hardship into tragedy. But experienced travelers respected the land. They understood patience. Distance mattered less than preparation. The morning meal remained simple. Bread slightly hardened from yesterday. Dried fruit. Warm tea. Nothing fancy. Nothing wasted. The travelers eat quietly. Conversation stays soft this early. Too much tiredness remains in everyone. Soon, blankets are folded. Animals prepared. Supplies lifted. And once again, the caravan begins moving. The road ahead looks endless in the early light. Dusty and quiet. The earth glows softly beneath sunrise. Shadows stretch long behind moving figures. The younger traveler walks beside the older one now without speaking much. He has started noticing things differently. The sound of camel bells moving gently through still air. The changing color of distant hills. How morning wind feels cooler against tired skin. How peaceful the world can feel before the sun grows harsh. Travel teaches observation. There are many quiet hours on the road. Many chances simply to notice. Far away, in a market town left behind days earlier, morning work has already begun. A woman opens the wooden door of her home and sweeps dust gently from the entrance. Dust always returns. Everyone knows this. Still, sweeping happens every morning. Routine matters even when results feel temporary. The street outside slowly wakes. A baker carries warm bread toward the market. The smell drifts softly into the cool air. A merchant stretches aching arms before opening his stall. Children carry water from nearby wells. Animals wake reluctantly. Another ordinary day begins. Much of life along the Silk Road followed this quiet repetition. Morning labor. Midday heat. Evening meals. Night rest. Then morning again. Season after season. Year after year. History often remembers large moments. Important names. Great buildings. But ordinary people lived mostly through repetition. Small efforts repeated countless times. A woman grinding grain before sunrise. A father repairing tools beneath fading daylight. A child learning to carry water carefully without spilling. These moments built entire lives. Near a narrow river farther east, fishermen begin their work early. The water moves quietly. Morning mist still lingers above parts of the riverbank. Small boats drift gently. The sound of water feels peaceful compared to dry roads elsewhere. One fisherman kneels carefully near tangled nets. His hands move with practiced patience. Years of work have made every motion familiar. Untangle. Repair. Cast. Wait. Fishing often brings long silence. Time stretches gently beside water. The fisherman listens to birds overhead. He thinks quietly about the coming day. Whether enough fish will be caught. Whether his children are sleeping well. Whether supplies at home will last until market day. Simple thoughts. Important thoughts. Daily life rarely moves far from practical concerns. Food. Rest. Health. Enough for tomorrow. Meanwhile, the caravan continues west. The heat slowly grows stronger. Morning coolness fades little by little. Travelers loosen cloth around their shoulders. Water becomes more important with each passing hour. The younger traveler already feels sweat gathering beneath layers of dust. Walking feels heavier now. His legs ache. Yet something changes today. He complains less inside his own thoughts. Fatigue has become familiar enough that resistance slowly fades. This surprises him. The body adapts quietly. Not perfectly, but enough. Beside the road, they pass another caravan heading east. Moments like this happen often. Travelers greet each other briefly. Questions follow. How are the roads ahead? Any trouble near the river crossing? How far to the next resting place? Information matters. Small knowledge helps survival. One older merchant shares news of strong winds farther west. Another warns of difficult water conditions. Nothing dramatic. Only practical truths passed quietly between tired strangers. Then everyone continues. Roads bring meetings. Roads bring partings. Most faces disappear forever after a single passing conversation. Yet even short encounters matter. Loneliness feels lighter after human voices. As the sun climbs higher, they finally stop near a cluster of trees offering rare shade. The relief feels immediate. Travelers sit heavily upon the ground. Animals rest nearby. Water is shared carefully. The younger traveler removes his sandals briefly and sighs softly. His feet hurt deeply now. Blisters have appeared. The older traveler notices. Without many words, he offers a small piece of cloth for padding. Kindness again. Simple and practical. The younger traveler smiles quietly. Not every lesson of the road feels difficult. Some lessons arrive gently. People survive better together. Patience matters. Pride matters less than rest. Shade matters more than speed. One traveler falls asleep almost immediately beneath a tree. Another quietly repairs torn clothing. Someone else stares into distance while eating slowly. The world feels still here. Only wind moving through leaves. Animal sounds. Soft conversation. The occasional creak of leather straps. Time slows beneath afternoon heat. Back in the town, workshops grow warm again. A potter turns clay carefully. A blacksmith wipes sweat from tired eyes. A tailor bends over fabric beneath dim light. Many workers remain indoors where shade offers some relief, though the work still feels tiring. Hands repeat familiar motions. Again. 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 Years pass this way. The body learns repetition until movement feels almost automatic. Outside one workshop, an elderly man rests briefly upon a low stool. He watches people pass slowly through the market street. Young workers carrying baskets. Merchants speaking softly. Children chasing one another before parents call them back. The old man remembers younger days. Harder days perhaps. Yet memory softens things. The difficult moments blur gently over time. What remains often feels quieter. Warm evenings. Shared meals. Familiar voices. The comfort of returning home after labor ends. As afternoon begins slowly leaning toward evening once more, shadows lengthen across roads and rooftops. The caravan prepares to continue. Only a little farther before stopping for the night. Everyone hopes for this. Tiredness has settled deeply now. The younger traveler stands slowly, adjusting sore shoulders. He no longer asks how much farther. He has learned something already. The road is always longer than expected. But evening always comes eventually. And with evening comes rest. Slowly, step by dusty step, the travelers move forward again while warm wind drifts softly across the ancient land. Evening arrives with a softness that feels almost kind after the long wait of the day. The sunlight lowers slowly across the land, turning dust into warm shades of gold and pale brown. Shadows stretch gently beside the road. The harsh brightness that covered everything only hours ago begins to loosen, little by little, as if the world itself is finally growing tired. For the travelers, this hour often feels like relief. The younger traveler notices it immediately. The heat no longer presses so firmly against his skin. The wind feels easier now, cooler somehow. Even the camels seem calmer as they move steadily across the quiet road. Ahead, the caravan leader raises a hand. Soon they will stop. No one says much, but everyone feels thankful. Tiredness speaks quietly through the body. Heavy legs. Dry throats. Sore backs. Feet that long for stillness. The caravan turns slightly toward a small resting place beside a shallow stream, where a few trees stand patiently against the fading sky. Water. Shade. Enough space for animals. For tonight, it will be enough. The travelers begin unloading supplies with slow movements. No one rushes. The day has already taken much of their strength. Blankets are spread. Small fires prepared. Water collected carefully. The younger traveler kneels beside the stream and washes dust from his face. Cool water feels comforting. Almost surprising. He closes his eyes for a moment. The sound of moving water softens everything around him. After many dry miles, even a small stream feels generous. Nearby, the older traveler sits carefully upon a smooth stone. His knees ache tonight. He rubs them quietly, watching the fading light move across the land. Travel changes people slowly. Not only through distance, but through repetition. Wake. Walk. Rest. Sleep. Repeat. After enough days, these rhythms begin settling deep into the body. The older traveler no longer thinks much about tomorrow's road. He simply accepts it. Tomorrow will arrive. The road will continue. There is comfort in accepting what cannot be hurried. Soon, someone begins preparing the evening meal. A small cooking pot hangs over gentle firelight. Steam rises slowly. The smell of warm food spreads softly through camp. Bread again. A simple stew. Tea warming nearby. Nothing grand. Yet after long labor, simple meals feel deeply satisfying. Travelers gather near the fire. Voices remain low. Soft from tiredness. One merchant quietly speaks of a town farther west where market streets stay crowded even during colder months. Another traveler describes a river crossing remembered from many years before. Stories move gently through the evening. No loud laughter. No dramatic moments. Only quiet conversation passing through tired air. The younger traveler listens more than he speaks. He likes hearing stories now. At first, everything unfamiliar frightened him. Now unfamiliar things slowly feel interesting instead. Strange roads. New foods. Different accents. Different ways of preparing bread. Travel widens the world slowly. One quiet evening at a time. After supper, some travelers repair worn belongings before sleep. A sandal strap loosened by hard roads. A torn bag. A blanket needing careful stitching. Things must last here. Replacing items takes time and money. People learn to mend. To patch. To reuse. Even simple possessions matter greatly. Nearby, the animals settle. Camels kneel heavily into resting positions. A donkey shakes dust from its coat. Soft breathing rises through cool evening air. The camp slowly quiets. Above them, the sky darkens. Stars begin appearing again. Always patient. Always steady. The younger traveler notices them sooner now. He finds himself looking upward each night without thinking. Something about the sky feels calming out here. Perhaps because the stars remain familiar when everything else changes. Roads shift. Towns disappear behind them. Faces come and go. But the sky stays. Far away, inside another town many days behind, evening settles differently. The market has mostly emptied. Merchants close wooden stalls one by one. The smell of supper drifts through narrow streets. Warm bread. Soup. Roasted vegetables. Cooking smoke rises softly into cooling air. A tailor finally puts aside his needle after many hours of work. His eyes feel tired. The small room where he works has grown dim. He stretches carefully. Long days bent over fabric leave his shoulders sore. Still, the work matters. Travelers always need repairs. Clothing tears easily on long roads. Dust wears fabric thin. Needles and thread quietly help hold daily life together. Outside, children finish evening chores reluctantly. Water jars brought inside. Animals fed. Firewood gathered. The rhythm repeats each night. Families work together because survival asks for cooperation. One person alone cannot manage everything. In a nearby home, an elderly woman sits near warm light grinding herbs slowly. Her granddaughter watches quietly. Learning begins early here. Not through schools alone, but through observation. Hands teaching hands. Watching. Repeating. Remembering. How to knead bread. How to care for sickness. How to repair tools. How to store grain. Small knowledge passes quietly from one generation to another. No grand lessons. Only ordinary wisdom gathered through ordinary years. The grandmother pauses and rubs her tired wrists. Age changes labor. Tasks become slower. Bodies grow careful. Still, older people remain important. Memory matters. Experience matters. Especially in places where life depends upon knowing what worked before. Nearby, a shepherd finally returns after a long day guiding animals through dry hills. Dust covers nearly everything. His clothes. His sandals. Even his hair. He feels exhausted. Yet familiar exhaustion. The kind that comes after honest work. At home, supper waits. Warm food. A place to sit. A roof overhead. Simple comforts become precious after difficult days. Across much of the Silk Road, people ended evenings similarly. Food. Family. Quiet rest. Tomorrow's worries waiting until morning. Night slowly deepens over towns and open roads alike. Inside the caravan camp, conversation grows quieter. One traveler already sleeps beneath layered blankets. Another stares quietly into the fire. The younger traveler sits near the older one. Neither speaks for a while. Words feel unnecessary tonight. The sound of moving water nearby feels enough. Eventually, the older traveler quietly speaks. He says the road teaches patience better than any teacher could. The younger traveler thinks about this. Perhaps it is true. Nothing moves quickly here. Not trade. Not weather. Not healing. Not journeys. Everything asks time. Even comfort arrives slowly. He looks down at his worn sandals. At hands dirtier than before. At muscles still sore. Yet he notices something unexpected. The road feels slightly less heavy tonight. Not easy. But familiar. And familiar things often feel softer. The fire grows smaller. Tea cools. Wind moves quietly through nearby trees. Far away, another caravan perhaps sits beneath another sky, cooking another simple meal after another difficult day. Elsewhere, bakers already sleep because tomorrow begins early. Farmers rest tired muscles. Merchants count coins before closing weary eyes. Children drift into dreams beside warm walls. Life continues everywhere in small quiet ways. No grand announcements. No sudden changes. Only the steady rhythm of ordinary people living ordinary days beneath wide skies. The younger traveler finally lies down. His blanket smells faintly of dust and smoke. The ground still feels hard. Yet sleep arrives faster now. Exhaustion helps. Routine helps. Nearby, soft breathing rises from sleeping travelers. Animals settle. The fire becomes embers. The stars remain overhead. And once again, the ancient road grows quiet, waiting patiently for another morning to arrive. Morning returns quietly once again. The night slowly loosens around the sleeping camp, and the world begins changing shape beneath soft early light. The stars remain for a little while longer, fading gently rather than disappearing. Cool air settles over the resting place beside the stream. The ground still holds traces of night's chill. No one wakes suddenly. The road does not ask for speed. Instead, people rise slowly, carefully, as though the body must first remember itself after sleep. The older traveler opens tired eyes and listens for a moment before standing. Water moves nearby. A camel shifts heavily. Someone quietly stirs ashes left from last night's fire. Morning has begun. He stretches stiff shoulders and rubs tired hands together. Years of travel have taught him not to move too quickly after sleeping on hard earth. The body complains more with age. A sore knee. An aching back. Stiffness that fades only after walking begins. Still, he rises with calm patience. He has done this many times before. Nearby, the younger traveler wakes more slowly. At first, he forgets where he is. The unfamiliar sky overhead still surprises him sometimes. Then memory returns gently. The road. The caravan. Another day of walking. He sits quietly for a while, wrapping his blanket tighter around himself against the morning coolness. Not long ago, mornings like this felt frightening. Too unfamiliar. Too uncertain. But little by little, something inside him has softened. The road still feels difficult. Yet no longer impossible. Someone begins warming tea again. Steam rises softly into pale morning air. The smell feels comforting now. Familiar. A small piece of routine repeated often enough to feel dependable. The travelers gather slowly. No one speaks loudly this early. Most people remain wrapped inside their own tired thoughts. One traveler rubs sore feet. Another quietly folds blankets. Someone checks straps on supplies already worn from weeks of use. Life on the road depends on preparation. Small mistakes grow large beneath difficult conditions. A forgotten water skin. A loose strap. A damaged sandal. Simple problems become serious far from towns. The caravan leader walks carefully among the animals. His face looks weathered from years outdoors. Sun. Wind. Dust. The road leaves quiet marks upon people. Lines near the eyes. Tired posture. Hands roughened by constant work. Still, he moves with steady calm. He knows this journey. Knows where water can be found. Knows which resting places offer safety. Experience matters greatly here. Especially where mistakes cost strength. As sunrise slowly spreads across the land, the caravan begins moving once more. Step after dusty step. Camel bells sound gently. The stream fades behind them. Ahead, the road stretches quietly into distance. The younger traveler notices how beautiful mornings can feel before heat arrives. The world seems softer then. Cool wind against tired skin. Long shadows stretching across open ground. Birds moving overhead. Even silence feels different in morning hours. Gentler somehow. The older traveler notices him looking around. Without many words, he quietly says this is the best part of the day. The younger traveler nods. He thinks perhaps he agrees. Far away, in a busy market town, another day begins. A woman wakes before sunrise and kneels beside a clay oven. Bread must be made early. Always early. Her hands move carefully through familiar work. Mixing flour. Adding water. Kneading slowly. The house still feels sleepy. Children remain wrapped in blankets nearby. Outside, streets stay quiet for now. Only distant footsteps move through morning darkness. The smell of baking bread slowly begins spreading again. Warm. Comforting. Reliable. Many people along the Silk Road begin mornings this way. With work already waiting. Farmers step into cool fields before sunlight grows strong. Merchants prepare market stalls. Servants sweep dusty floors. Animal handlers feed restless creatures. Life begins early because heat arrives quickly. In one narrow street, a water seller prepares large clay jars for the day ahead. His work feels simple but important. People always need water. Travelers especially. He checks containers carefully. Nothing cracked. Nothing leaking. The road depends on practical people doing practical work. Quiet labor keeps everything moving. Not glory. Not celebration. Only effort. Steady effort repeated every day. Nearby, a child follows his father through market streets carrying a small basket. He yawns often. The morning still feels too early. Yet learning begins young here. Children watch adults carefully. How to trade fairly. How to carry supplies. How to repair broken things. Skills pass slowly between generations. Observation matters. Patience matters. One day, this sleepy child will wake before sunrise too. Will carry responsibilities of his own. Will grow familiar with tired mornings and long afternoons. Life turns gently like that. Meanwhile, the caravan moves through a quieter stretch of road bordered by dry hills. Dust rises beneath steady feet. The younger traveler feels soreness immediately today. His legs ache deeply. Blisters still trouble him. Yet he notices something surprising. Walking hurts less once movement begins. The body seems to wake alongside the road. Step after step. Breathing settles. Muscles adjust. Discomfort becomes background rather than burden. Not gone. Only quieter. Around midday, the heat slowly begins returning. The travelers wrap cloth more carefully against the sun. Water breaks become more important. Conversations grow shorter. Energy fades beneath rising warmth. One traveler walks silently with eyes lowered, focused only on steady movement. Another hums softly beneath his breath. A merchant counts supplies again while walking. Roads encourage repetition. Checking. Watching. Preparing. The younger traveler begins noticing small details now. The way heat changes smells. Dry earth warming beneath sunlight. Leather softening. Dust moving differently when wind shifts. Travel teaches attention. There are many quiet hours to observe. Eventually, the caravan reaches a small roadside stopping place. Only a few buildings. A shaded courtyard. Animals already resting there. The sight brings relief. Everyone looks tired now. Very tired. They settle into shade gratefully. Water first. Then food. Always in that order. Simple bread. Dried fruit. Tea. Enough. Only enough. The younger traveler leans against a wall and closes his eyes briefly. He listens. Animal sounds nearby. Soft conversation. Wind brushing against dry wood. Somewhere, someone laughs quietly. A small sound. But comforting somehow. Loneliness fades slightly in places like this. Travelers understand one another. Everyone carries tiredness. Everyone misses something left behind. Home. Family. Familiar meals. Easy sleep. Yet roads create temporary communities too. People gathered together by necessity. A merchant nearby begins speaking about a city farther west. He describes crowded markets, lantern light, and streets filled with many languages. The younger traveler listens closely. His imagination drifts. The world feels larger now than before he left home. Larger. Stranger. Yet somehow softer too. He once believed distant places would feel frightening. Instead, many places feel surprisingly familiar. Tired workers. Warm bread. People worrying about tomorrow. Children laughing in dusty streets. Even far from home, ordinary life often looks the same. As afternoon stretches slowly onward, heat settles heavily again. Some travelers nap briefly. Others repair clothing or clean tools. The older traveler quietly mends a worn edge of his blanket. Years on the road teach care. Small repairs save trouble later. Nothing should be ignored too long. The younger traveler watches and slowly begins helping. His fingers feel clumsy. Still learning. Still adjusting. But learning. The older traveler nods with quiet approval. No praise needed. Simple understanding feels enough. Outside, warm wind moves gently across the old roads. Farmland, towns, rivers, and deserts continue their endless rhythm. Farmers bend over crops. Merchants count goods. Fishermen untangle nets. Mothers prepare evening meals long before sunset arrives. The world moves patiently. Slowly. quietly. And little by little, another day along the Silk Road continues unfolding beneath the wide and steady sky. The afternoon moves gently toward evening once again. Heat still rests upon the land, though not as heavily as before. Shadows begin growing longer beside the road, stretching quietly across dust and stone. The sunlight softens little by little, becoming warmer, calmer, easier upon tired eyes. For the travelers, this hour often feels like breathing again after holding breath too long. The younger traveler notices how different everyone becomes when evening approaches. Faces soften. Voices grow lighter. Even silence changes. It no longer feels heavy with exhaustion but peaceful somehow, as though everyone understands that rest will soon arrive. The caravan leader studies the road ahead. He knows this part well. Not far from here sits a small caravanserai, a resting place where travelers may find shelter for one night before moving onward again. The thought of walls and shade brings quiet comfort. Sleeping beneath open sky can feel beautiful. But after many nights outdoors, even simple shelter feels precious. The younger traveler feels hopeful when he hears the news. His feet ache badly today. More than yesterday. The long road leaves its quiet lessons inside the body. Pain arrives slowly. Then becomes familiar. Then somehow easier to carry. The travelers continue walking. Dust rises softly beneath steady movement. The road curves gently between low hills touched by fading sunlight. Birds move overhead before disappearing into evening quiet. The wind feels cooler now. Kinder. And after some time, the resting place finally appears. Nothing grand. Only thick mud brick walls surrounding a large courtyard. Wooden gates stand open. Inside, travelers from other roads already rest beside animals and small fires. Smoke rises into the cooling air. Voices drift softly. The smell of food reaches them even before they enter. Warm bread. Stew. Tea. The younger traveler almost smiles from relief. Inside the courtyard, everyone begins familiar evening routines. Animals are cared for first. Always first. Camels kneel heavily after long hours of walking. Water is shared carefully. Saddles loosen. Supplies stacked neatly. The older traveler moves slowly now. The day has settled deep into his bones. Still, experience teaches patience. No rushing. Only steady movements. The younger traveler helps where he can. His hands still feel uncertain sometimes, but less than before. He knows how to tighten straps now. How to carry supplies carefully. How to prepare sleeping space. The road teaches through repetition. Little by little. Nearby, another caravan has arrived from the opposite direction. Their clothing carries different dust. Different colors. Different signs of distant places. Yet tiredness looks the same everywhere. One merchant removes worn sandals and sighs deeply. Another rubs aching shoulders. A woman carefully settles a sleepy child beneath folded blankets. Travel connects strangers through shared discomfort. Everyone understands sore feet. Dry throats. The wish for rest. Inside one corner of the courtyard, a cook stirs a large pot above warm firelight. The smell fills the air slowly. Comforting smells. Onions softening. Herbs warming. Steam rising into evening. Travelers gather nearby patiently. No one complains about waiting. Hunger feels ordinary here. People know meals take time. The younger traveler sits beside the older one while supper cooks. The sky above the courtyard slowly darkens. He listens to conversations drifting nearby. Someone speaks of mountain roads farther east. Someone else describes markets near distant rivers. A merchant quietly complains about damaged supplies after difficult weather. Small stories move gently through tired air. The younger traveler realizes something. Roads carry stories almost as much as goods. Every traveler brings pieces of somewhere else. News. Rumors. Memories. Advice. Warnings. Simple observations. Where water tastes sweet. Which roads feel safest. Which town bakes the best bread. Life stretches quietly from place to place like thread being carefully pulled through cloth. When supper finally arrives, everyone eats slowly. Bread still warm. Stew shared among tired hands. Tea poured into simple cups. No feast. Nothing luxurious. Yet after long travel, warmth itself feels rich. The younger traveler notices how good ordinary food tastes when someone feels truly hungry. He eats quietly, listening more than speaking. Nearby, a merchant laughs softly at a story told many times before. Nothing dramatic. Only a memory about losing a sandal in deep mud years ago and walking unevenly for days afterward. The laughter stays gentle. Sleepiness already begins settling into the courtyard. Tiredness softens people. After eating, many travelers prepare for night quickly. Some repair belongings beneath dim light. Others simply sit quietly, letting sore bodies rest. A woman rocks her child gently until sleep comes. An old merchant counts coins slowly, careful not to lose track in fading light. Someone hums softly while folding blankets. The younger traveler washes dust from his hands near a water basin. The coolness feels comforting. He looks around the courtyard. Only days ago, everything strange frightened him. The unfamiliar faces. The endless road. The constant movement. Now unfamiliar things feel less sharp somehow. Not easy. But understandable. People still wake tired. Still miss home. Still hope tomorrow goes well. Distance changes details. But ordinary life stays familiar. The older traveler notices him watching the courtyard. Quietly, he says the road becomes gentler once a person stops fighting it. The younger traveler thinks about these words. Perhaps they are true. The road does not hurry. Does not explain itself. It simply continues. And people slowly learn to continue with it. Far away, back in another town, evening settles gently over homes and narrow streets. A baker finally rests tired hands after preparing tomorrow's dough. Flour still dusts his sleeves. His shoulders ache. Yet there is satisfaction too. Tomorrow's work already waiting quietly. Nearby, farmers eat simple suppers after long labor. Children grow sleepy beside warm lamps. A fisherman repairs torn netting before sleep. An old woman closes wooden shutters against cooling night wind. Across the Silk Road, ordinary evenings unfold in countless small ways. Soup warming. Sandals removed at doorways. Tired bodies stretching slowly. Quiet conversations fading toward sleep. History often feels large when remembered from far away. Empires. Trade. Great cities. But most people live through moments like these. Quiet evenings. Simple meals. Small worries. Ordinary hopes. Inside the caravanserai courtyard, lamps flicker softly now. Warm light touches tired faces. Animals settle into stillness nearby. The younger traveler spreads his blanket near a quiet wall. Tonight feels safer somehow. Walls around him. Familiar faces nearby. The sound of low conversation instead of empty wind. He lies down slowly. His muscles ache deeply. But exhaustion feels less frightening now. Almost comforting. The older traveler settles nearby without many words. Some companionship no longer needs conversation. Only presence. Only familiarity. Above the courtyard, the stars slowly appear once more. Smaller here between tall walls. Yet still steady. Still patient. The sounds of the resting place slowly fade. One voice grows quiet. Then another. Firelight softens. Animals breathe slowly. Night settles gently over tired travelers once again. And beyond the walls, the old roads stretch silently through darkness, waiting patiently for another morning, another caravan, another ordinary day moving softly across the ancient world. Before morning fully arrives, the caravanserai rests in a deep and quiet stillness. The courtyard sleeps beneath fading stars. Only a few lamps still glow softly near distant walls, their light weak now after the long night. Blankets lie across tired bodies. Bags rest neatly beside sleeping travelers. Animals shift from time to time, breathing slowly in the cool darkness. The night air feels gentle here. Cooler than the heat of yesterday. The younger traveler wakes briefly before sunrise. For a moment, he does not move. He simply listens. Somewhere nearby, a camel lets out a low sound before settling again. A traveler coughs softly in sleep. Wind moves faintly above the courtyard walls. He notices something unusual. The silence no longer feels lonely. Not entirely. When he first left home, unfamiliar nights felt heavy with worry. Strange places kept sleep far away. Every sound seemed important. But now, after days on the road, unfamiliar sounds have begun feeling familiar. The soft rustle of blankets. The quiet movement of travelers waking early. The smell of cooled ashes from last night's fire. Small things repeated often enough slowly become comforting. He pulls his blanket closer for a little while longer. The older traveler nearby still sleeps, though lightly. Years of travel often change sleep. People learn to wake easily. To notice sounds. To stay aware without meaning to. Life on the road asks for careful rest. Not long after, movement begins quietly around the courtyard. One traveler rises and stretches sore shoulders. Another walks slowly toward the water basin. Someone begins preparing tea. Morning arrives little by little. Never suddenly. The sky shifts gently overhead. Dark blue softens. Gray touches the horizon. Soon pale gold begins appearing beyond the distant hills. The younger traveler finally stands. His body feels stiff again. Legs sore. Feet tender. Back tired. Yet something has changed. The soreness surprises him less now. He almost expects it. Almost accepts it. The older traveler notices him stretching. Quietly, without much ceremony, he hands him a piece of bread left from yesterday. Breakfast begins simply. Always simply. Bread. Tea. Sometimes dried fruit. Enough to begin moving. Nothing wasted. Nothing excessive. Around them, other travelers quietly prepare for departure. A merchant ties bundles carefully. A woman folds blankets while her child still sleeps nearby. Animal handlers check straps and supplies with practiced hands. Routine shapes the morning. Everyone seems to know what comes next. Prepare. Pack. Move. Rest later. As sunrise spreads slowly across the courtyard, warmth begins returning to the world. Not harsh yet. Only gentle. The younger traveler pauses briefly near the gate before departure. Outside, the road stretches far ahead again. Dusty. Silent. Waiting. He feels something difficult to explain. Part of him misses home deeply this morning. The familiar smell of his family's kitchen. The voices he knew without thinking. The comfort of staying in one place. Yet another part of him feels curious too. What waits farther ahead? What markets? What rivers? What strange foods and unfamiliar towns? The road feels difficult. But also strangely alive. Soon the caravan begins moving once more. The heavy wooden gates of the caravanserai remain behind them. Inside, other travelers still rest. Others prepare to leave later. The cycle never truly stops. Caravans arrive. Caravans depart. New faces replace old ones. Stories continue moving from place to place. The road grows quieter as morning deepens. This stretch passes through open land where dry grass bends gently beneath soft wind. Low hills rise quietly in the distance. Birds move overhead. Sunlight touches the earth carefully. Morning remains the easiest hour for walking. The air feels manageable. Breathing easier. Thoughts softer. The younger traveler finds himself noticing ordinary details again. The sound of sandals brushing dirt. How shadows move beside the camels. The quiet rhythm of steady footsteps. Roads teach patience partly because there is so much time to notice small things. Far away, another morning begins inside a village resting near a narrow river. A farmer wakes before sunrise. His work waits no matter how tired he feels. He drinks water slowly, washes sleep from his face, and steps outside into cool air. The fields rest quietly for now. Mist hangs softly above the river. Morning birds call gently. For a few moments, everything feels peaceful. Soon labor will begin. Heavy labor. But this quiet hour belongs only to morning. Nearby, smoke rises slowly from homes as families begin preparing food. A mother kneads dough near warm firelight. Children still sleep in the corner of the room. A grandfather sits outside rubbing stiff hands together while waiting for sunlight to warm the day. Age makes morning slower. The body asks for patience. Still, routines continue. People rise. Work begins. Life moves forward gently, one ordinary morning after another. Back on the road, the caravan pauses briefly near a well known to passing travelers. Water matters too much to ignore. Everyone drinks carefully. Animals too. The younger traveler kneels beside the water and splashes his face. Coolness helps. Dust already gathers again along his clothes. The road never stays clean for long. An older merchant nearby quietly jokes that dust becomes part of a traveler eventually. Not something worn. Something carried. The younger traveler smiles softly. Small humor feels welcome this early. Nothing loud. Nothing sharp. Only tired people sharing tired understanding. Before long, the caravan moves onward again. The sun slowly climbs higher. Heat waits patiently ahead. But for now, morning still lingers. The road remains calm. The wind feels soft. And step by dusty step, the travelers continue moving west through the ancient world, while behind them villages wake, ovens warm, fields fill with workers, and ordinary life unfolds quietly beneath the growing light of another day. The morning slowly deepens. Sunlight spreads farther across the land, touching dry hills, distant fields, and the long winding road beneath the feet of travelers. The coolness that made walking easier begins fading little by little. Warmth settles into stones. Dust feels lighter beneath steady movement. The caravan continues west. No one rushes. The road decides its own pace. The younger traveler walks quietly now, no longer asking how much farther remains. He has begun understanding something important. Distance feels different here. A place that sounds near may still take many days. A town spoken of casually might remain beyond several sunsets. People on the Silk Road learned patience because impatience solved very little. The road could not be hurried. Animals grew tired. Water had limits. Heat demanded caution. Everyone moved according to what the land allowed. Ahead, the caravan leader slows near a narrow path that bends gently toward rocky ground. He knows this section well. The road becomes uneven here. Care matters. Camels step slowly. Travelers watch their footing. One loose stone can twist an ankle. A fall far from help becomes serious quickly. The younger traveler moves carefully. His legs still ache from many days of walking, though he notices something surprising again. His body feels stronger now. Not rested. Still tired. But stronger. The first days felt impossible. Now they feel manageable. Difficult things sometimes become ordinary through repetition. Step after step. Morning after morning. Without noticing, people change. Beside him, the older traveler adjusts a worn cloth around his shoulders. Dust has gathered everywhere. In his hair. Inside his sleeves. Across his sandals. He seems unsurprised. Travel leaves traces. Always. The road settles quietly into clothing, skin, and memory. Around midday, the caravan finally reaches a place where several trees offer welcome shade beside a narrow stream. The sight alone feels comforting. Everyone grows quieter with relief. Heat has begun pressing harder now. The kind of heat that makes shoulders heavy. Thoughts slower. Voices softer. The travelers stop. Water first. Always water. Animals drink carefully. Faces wash. Hands cool briefly. The younger traveler kneels beside the stream and watches sunlight move across the surface. The water travels steadily. Unhurried. He likes this place immediately. There is peace here. The sort of peace that arrives only after effort. Someone nearby begins preparing a midday meal. Nothing large. Simple food carried carefully for travel. Bread. Dried dates. Cheese wrapped in cloth. Tea warming slowly. Meals on the road often feel repetitive. Yet hunger changes things. Simple food tastes better after difficult walking. Nearby, the older traveler removes one sandal and quietly examines a sore spot on his foot. Years of travel do not erase discomfort. Experience helps. But bodies still grow tired. Pain still arrives. The road treats everyone honestly. Young or old. Rich or poor. Everyone walks. Everyone aches. The younger traveler notices this and quietly offers water. No speech needed. The older traveler nods with quiet gratitude. Kindness along the road often appears through small gestures. Sharing shade. Passing water. Helping carry supplies. Watching over someone who feels ill. People survive better together. Across the Silk Road, travelers depended upon strangers more often than they expected. As the hottest part of the day settles over the land, movement slows. Some travelers sleep briefly beneath trees. Others repair worn belongings. A merchant carefully checks wrapped bundles of cloth. Another traveler quietly writes notes upon folded paper, perhaps keeping account of trade or simply recording places visited. The younger traveler sits with tired legs stretched carefully before him. He listens. Wind moving through leaves. Water shifting quietly. Soft animal sounds. Low conversation fading in and out. The world feels still here. Heavy with afternoon calm. Far away, in another town connected to these same roads, a blacksmith continues working despite the heat. The workshop feels warm. Very warm. Fire glows softly inside the shaded room. Hammer strikes echo at steady intervals. Not hurried. Not loud. Only rhythm. The blacksmith pauses often now. Age and heat both ask for patience. He wipes sweat from tired eyes and drinks carefully from a clay cup. Outside, market streets move more slowly during midday. People seek shade. Merchants sit quietly near stalls. A tailor bends over torn clothing beneath dim light. Nearby, a woman prepares lentils for the evening meal while children rest indoors away from the strongest sunlight. The rhythm repeats in countless places. Morning labor. Midday pause. Evening work. Night rest. Ordinary lives moving steadily forward. History remembers roads, trade, and cities. But roads exist because ordinary people wake every day and continue working. Bakers knead dough. Farmers bend over crops. Animal handlers feed tired creatures. Water carriers walk familiar paths. Without these quiet efforts, The Silk Road could not breathe. Back beneath the trees, the caravan slowly prepares to move again. No one seems eager. Shade feels too good. Still, the road waits. And waiting roads eventually call people onward. The younger traveler stands carefully. His legs protest for a moment. Then settle. The older traveler notices and quietly smiles. The body remembers movement now, he says softly. The younger traveler thinks perhaps this is true. Walking no longer feels strange. Only tiring. And somehow, familiar. They begin moving again beneath afternoon sunlight. The road narrows briefly between hills. The air feels warm and still. Dust rises softly around sandals and hooves. Conversation fades as tiredness returns. Many travelers simply focus on steady movement. One step. Then another. The younger traveler notices how time feels different on the road. Days blur softly together. Morning coolness. Midday heat. Evening meals. Night sky. Then morning again. Life becomes simple in certain ways. Walk. Eat. Rest. Continue. Complicated worries slowly quiet themselves. There is little energy left for unnecessary thinking. Ahead, the land begins changing slightly. The dry earth softens near signs of distant farming. Small patches of green appear. A few trees stand farther apart. Somewhere nearby, people must live. Perhaps a village waits ahead. The thought lifts spirits quietly. Villages often mean water. Fresh bread. News. Shelter. The possibility of rest. As afternoon slowly leans toward evening, wind begins moving again. Cooler now. Kinder. The younger traveler breathes deeply. Another day nears its end. And somehow, without fully realizing when it happened, the road feels less like something he travels through and more like something he belongs to, at least for now. Around him, the caravan moves steadily forward while far away families prepare supper, fields grow quiet, ovens warm, and countless ordinary people continue their quiet work beneath the same wide sky stretching gently over the ancient world. The afternoon slowly softens into evening. The sunlight grows gentler now, resting warmly across the land instead of pressing down upon it. Long shadows begin stretching across the road again. Dust glows softly in golden light. The hardest part of the day has passed. The travelers feel it immediately. Tiredness remains. Always remains. But evening carries relief inside it. The younger traveler walks more slowly now, though not only from exhaustion. He has begun noticing how beautiful this hour feels. The wind cools. The sky widens somehow. Everything quiets. Even the camels seem calmer. The caravan leader points ahead towards signs of settlement. At first, the younger traveler notices very little. Only distant shapes. Then slowly, details appear. Low mud brick buildings. Thin trails of smoke rising into evening air. A few trees clustered near what must be water. A village. Not large. Only a quiet stopping place resting gently beside the road. The sight comforts everyone more than they admit aloud. Villages mean pause. Food. Water. Human voices. A night where sleep feels safer. As they move closer, small sounds begin reaching them. Animals somewhere nearby. Children speaking softly. The distant rhythm of work still being finished before dark. Ordinary sounds. Comforting sounds. The younger traveler realizes something. Even unfamiliar villages begin feeling strangely welcoming after many days outdoors. A roof matters. Warm food matters. Stillness matters. At the village edge, farmers return slowly from nearby fields. Their clothing carries dust and signs of long labor. One man walks beside a tired donkey carrying tools used throughout the day. Another balances bundles carefully over one shoulder. The day has settled into their bodies too. Heavy arms. Sore backs. Quiet hunger. The caravan enters slowly. No grand arrival. Only movement through narrow paths lined with simple homes and low walls. Smoke rises from cooking fires. The smell reaches them first. Warm bread. Stew. Onions softening in pots. Simple food prepared after long work. The younger traveler suddenly notices how hungry he feels. More than he realized. One older woman standing near a doorway watches the caravan pass with calm curiosity. Travelers are not unusual here. The Silk Road brings movement constantly. New faces. Different clothing. Different languages. Then, by morning, most people continue onward. Villages learn to welcome strangers carefully. Not warmly at first, but politely. Practical kindness matters. A place to rest. Water to drink. Bread if available. A small sleeping space if someone can afford it. The caravan leader speaks briefly with a local man near a courtyard used by travelers. Simple arrangements are made. Animals first. Then supplies. Then rest. The younger traveler helps unload quietly. His shoulders ache deeply tonight. The work feels heavier than usual. Yet his movements feel more confident now. He knows where supplies belong. How blankets should be arranged. What tasks matter first. The road has been teaching him quietly. Not through lessons. Only repetition. Nearby, several local children watch the travelers with quiet fascination. One boy stares openly at the camels. Another whispers something to a friend before both laugh softly and disappear down a narrow path. Children often remain curious about travelers. Roads carry mystery for those who stay home. Stories from distant places. Different accents. Strange goods wrapped carefully inside cloth. After animals are settled, the travelers finally rest. The courtyard feels peaceful. Simple. A water basin rests near one wall. A cooking fire glows softly nearby. The younger traveler washes his face slowly. Dust leaves faint trails behind. His reflection in the water surprises him a little. Thinner somehow. Darker from sun. More tired. Yet stronger too. Travel changes appearances quietly. Outside the courtyard, evening life continues through the village. A woman kneads dough while speaking softly to her daughter. A shepherd finally closes a gate after gathering animals home. Someone repairs broken tools beneath fading light. Evenings often remain busy. There is always one more task. One more small responsibility before rest arrives. The younger traveler sits beside the older traveler near the fire. Neither says much at first. Words feel unnecessary after long days. Eventually, warm food arrives. Simple stew again. Fresh bread. Tea. The bread tastes especially good tonight. Fresh. Still warm. The younger traveler almost forgets how comforting fresh bread feels after many days of travel food. Nearby, quiet conversations drip through the courtyard. One merchant asks about road conditions farther east. Another speaks softly about a river crossing delayed by weather. Someone describes a market filled with colorful fabrics and crowded voices. The younger traveler listens carefully. Every traveler carries pieces of somewhere else. Sometimes news. Sometimes warnings. Sometimes only memories. The Silk Road feels less like one road and more like countless lives brushing softly against one another. Meeting briefly. Then moving apart again. After supper, night settles gently over the village. The air cools. The sky darkens. Lamps glow softly through windows. Families gather indoors. Voices lower. A tired calm spreads slowly through the streets. In one nearby home, grandparents sit quietly while children grow sleepy beside warm light. Someone mends clothing. Someone yawns. Someone quietly prepares tomorrow's grain before bed. Ordinary evenings. Repeated countless times. Farther away, farmers stretch tired backs before sleep. Merchants count coins. Bakers already think about tomorrow's early work. Fishermen fold nets. The world grows quieter one small moment at a time. Back in the courtyard, the younger traveler feels sleep arriving sooner than before. Exhaustion settles deeply. Yet something else rests there too. Comfort. Not complete comfort. The road still feels uncertain. But less lonely now. The older traveler quietly notices his sleepy expression. He says softly that villages always feel kinder after difficult roads. The younger traveler smiles faintly. Perhaps because walls hold warmth. Or because firelight reminds people of home. Or perhaps because tired bodies simply feel grateful for rest. The stars slowly appear overhead. Soft and patient as always. The village quiets. Animals settle. Doors close. Firelight becomes smaller. The younger traveler spreads his blanket carefully. Tonight, the ground feels softer somehow. Or perhaps he has simply grown used to it. Nearby, someone hums quietly before sleep. Another traveler turns beneath blankets. The older traveler already rests with eyes closed. Outside the village, the long roads continue through darkness. Dusty. Silent. Waiting for tomorrow. And somewhere far away, another caravan walks beneath moonlight while another village prepares for morning, as the quiet rhythm of ordinary life continues gently across the ancient Silk Road. Morning arrives softly over the village. At first, darkness only loosens slightly. The stars remain overhead for a little while longer, pale now against the slowly brightening sky. Cool air rests gently upon rooftops of dried clay and narrow village paths. Smoke has not yet risen from cooking fires. Doors remain closed. For a short moment, everything feels still. Peacefully still. The younger traveler wakes before sunrise. He blinks slowly, unsure for a moment where he is. Then memory returns. The village. The road. Another day waiting quietly ahead. He remains lying down for a while, listening. A distant rooster. The soft movement of animals nearby. Someone quietly stirring before dawn. He notices how familiar these sounds have become. At home, mornings sounded different. Different walls. Different voices. Yet early mornings often carry the same feeling everywhere. Sleep slowly leaving tired bodies. Work quietly approaching. The older traveler wakes nearby and stretches carefully. Age makes morning slower. His joints ache more after cool nights. He rubs his hands together, waiting for warmth to return. Without saying much, he begins preparing for the day. Blankets folded. Bags checked. Small routines repeated countless times before. The younger traveler watches him. There is comfort in seeing familiar habits. Routine makes uncertainty easier somehow. Soon, movement begins across the village. Doors open. Soft footsteps appear in dusty paths. Women step outside carrying clay jars for water. The smell of smoke slowly rises as cooking fires wake. Morning always begins with labor. Even before sunlight fully arrives. A baker farther down the road already works beside warm ovens. Flour rests lightly across his sleeves. His hands move with practiced certainty. Press. Fold. Turn. Bread must be ready before the village fully wakes. Fresh bread matters. Especially in places where long work waits ahead. Nearby, a shepherd quietly leads animals through narrow paths toward open land. The animals move slowly, still sleepy somehow. Morning feels gentle before heat arrives. The younger traveler breathes deeply. Cool air still lingers. He likes mornings best now. Everything feels softer then. The road looks calmer. Thoughts feel quieter. For a little while, exhaustion has not fully returned. The travelers eat simply before departure. Bread, tea, a few dried fruits. Enough to begin moving. No one eats quickly. Morning asks patience. The caravan leader speaks briefly with local villagers about road conditions ahead. Weather matters. Water matters. News matters. Roads change quietly. A strong wind may cover familiar paths. A damaged crossing can delay travel. Information travels person to person. Voice to voice. One ordinary conversation at a time. Soon, preparations begin. Animals loaded. Water checked carefully. Blankets secured. The younger traveler notices he no longer feels uncertain about these tasks. His hands move more naturally now. The road teaches through repetition. Not suddenly. Slowly. Little by little. One morning becomes another until unfamiliar things feel ordinary. Before leaving, he glances briefly around the village. Smoke rising softly. Children still sleepy near doorways. Someone sweeping dust, though more will surely return tomorrow. Simple life unfolding again. The same rhythms repeating. People will work. Eat. Rest. Sleep. Then wake tomorrow and begin again. The caravan finally leaves. Dust rises gently beneath steady movement. The village grows smaller behind them. Ahead, the road stretches onward beneath growing sunlight. The younger traveler no longer fears its length quite so much. He understands now. The road always continues. And somehow, people continue with it. Morning passes quietly. The caravan moves through open land where wind brushes dry grass softly. Small birds move overhead. Hills rise in the distance like sleeping shapes resting against the sky. The younger traveler notices details more often now. The smell of warming earth. The sound of leather straps moving with each step. The rhythm of breathing around him. Travel slows the mind in certain ways. There is time to notice things. Time to think. Time to simply walk. Beside him, the older traveler walks quietly. Not much needs saying today. Companionship grows differently on long roads. Sometimes silence feels enough. The younger traveler once feared silence. Now he finds peace inside it. Around midday, the caravan reaches a roadside market where several merchants have gathered beneath simple cloth shelters. Nothing large. Only a temporary meeting place. Still, movement fills the air. Travelers resting. Animals drinking. Voices trading quietly. The smell of cooking rises nearby. The younger traveler feels curious immediately. Roadside markets always feel alive in soft ways. Not crowded like large cities perhaps, but busy enough. A merchant arranges small spices carefully inside cloth bags. Another offers dried fruit. Someone repairs sandals beneath shade while speaking softly with passing travelers. Practical work everywhere. Small exchanges keeping life moving. The older traveler quietly buys fresh bread. Still warm. He shares part of it without ceremony. The younger traveler smiles. Kindness on the road rarely announces itself. It simply appears. Simple things begin to matter deeply here. Fresh bread. Shade. Cool water. Familiar company. The caravan rests for a while. Heat settles heavily overhead again. Some travelers sleep beneath cloth shade. Others speak softly about roads farther ahead. A merchant nearby tells stories about distant mountain paths where cold winds surprise travelers even in warmer months. The younger traveler listens carefully. The world keeps growing larger. And strangely smaller too. Different places often hold familiar rhythms. Workers waking early. Meals prepared slowly. Children helping families. Tired bodies resting after sunset. Ordinary life repeating itself beneath different skies. Far away, in another village untouched by this caravan, a woman washes vegetables near a quiet stream. A fisherman untangles morning nets. A blacksmith wipes sweat from tired hands. Elsewhere, another traveler somewhere along another road misses home while quietly drinking tea before dawn. The Silk Road connects lives that never meet. Threads stretching gently across deserts, rivers, valleys, and sleeping towns. Back beneath the roadside shelter, afternoon slowly approaches. Heat presses downward. Conversation grows quieter. Even the younger traveler feels sleepy now. The body learns strange habits on the road. Wake early. Walk. Rest. Continue. Sleep arrives easily after effort. Soon enough, the caravan prepares to move again. The road waits patiently outside the shade. Always waiting. Dusty. Endless. Steady. The younger traveler stands slowly and adjusts worn sandals. His feet still ache. His shoulders still feel heavy. Yet something inside feels calmer than before. The road remains difficult, but no longer frightening. And step by dusty step, beneath the widening afternoon sky, the travelers begin moving onward once more through the quiet and ancient world. The afternoon settles gently around the travelers as they leave the roadside market behind. For a little while, the smell of warm bread and cooking smoke still lingers faintly in memory. Then the road becomes quiet again. Dust rises softly beneath steady feet. The sky stretches wide overhead. The heat feels heavier now. Not unbearable perhaps, but tiring in the slow and familiar way travelers come to understand. No one speaks very much. The warm hours of afternoon often quiet people. Energy grows smaller. Thoughts slow down. Even conversations seem to rest. The younger traveler walks beside the older one with calmer steps than before. His body still aches. It probably always will after long days. Yet something inside him has changed quietly. He no longer thinks only about arriving somewhere. Instead, he notices the road itself. The shape of hills. The changing wind. The sound of distant birds disappearing into silence. Travel teaches patience partly because there is so much waiting. Waiting for shade. Waiting for cooler air. Waiting for evening. Waiting for tomorrow. The caravan moves through a wide stretch of land where low shrubs grow between dry earth and scattered stone. Far away, mountains rest faintly against the horizon. They seem impossibly distant. Like something painted gently against the edge of the world. The younger traveler wonders how many roads still wait ahead. How many villages? How many nights sleeping beneath unfamiliar skies? The thought feels tiring, but strangely comforting too. There is peace in moving forward slowly. Nearby, one of the camels shakes its head, bells sounding softly through still air. The sound has become familiar now. At first, it seemed strange. Now it feels part of the rhythm of the journey. Step. Bell. Wind. Footsteps. Silence. Again and again. The road teaches repetition. And repetition softens fear. By late afternoon, the sunlight begins changing. Not cooler yet, but softer somehow. Golden around the edges. The caravan leader studies the land carefully. There should be water nearby. A small resting place perhaps. He remembers this route. Though roads change, memory helps. Travelers rely on remembered details. A tree shaped a certain way. A bend in the hills. A familiar stone near water. The land itself becomes guide. Eventually, relief appears. A small grove of trees near a narrow stream. Nothing grand. Only enough. Enough shade. Enough water. Enough space to rest before night. The travelers settle gratefully. The younger traveler kneels immediately beside the water. He washes dust from his hands and face. Coolness spreads across tired skin. It feels good. Very good. Nearby, another traveler removes sandals and sighs softly while stretching sore feet. The older traveler sits beneath shade with slow care. He looks especially tired tonight. The younger traveler notices. Without thinking much about it, he quietly brings water. The older traveler nods once. No long thanks. None needed. Care often becomes quiet on the road. People begin noticing each other's tiredness. Helping where possible. Simple kindness repeated day after day. Someone starts preparing food nearby. A small fire. A cooking pot. The familiar smell of evening beginning. Bread warmed again. Tea prepared. Perhaps lentils tonight. Perhaps soup. Travel food changes little. Yet hunger welcomes routine. The younger traveler sits near the stream while waiting. The sound of water calms him. Back home, he remembers evenings differently. Familiar rooms. Family voices. The smell of meals prepared by people he loved. For a moment, homesickness arrives again. Quiet but deep. He wonders what his family is doing now. Are they eating supper? Has anyone mentioned him today? Do they wonder where he sleeps? The road leaves space for thoughts like these. Long hours invite memory. Yet strangely, sadness feels softer than before. Not gone. Only gentler. Perhaps because unfamiliar places no longer feel empty. There are familiar faces here now. The older traveler. The caravan leader. Even the quiet routines themselves. The road slowly becomes its own kind of home. Temporary. Always moving. But still home in a small way. As evening approaches, the heat finally loosens. Wind moves gently through the trees. Someone nearby hums softly while repairing worn fabric. Another traveler quietly checks supplies for tomorrow. Preparation never truly ends. Tomorrow always waits. Meals are shared as sunlight begins fading. Simple food again. Warm and filling. No one complains. After difficult walking, even ordinary meals feel comforting. The younger traveler eats slowly beside the older traveler. For a while, neither speaks. Then the older traveler quietly points toward distant hills. He says there is a town farther west where bread tastes sweeter than anywhere else on the road. The younger traveler smiles faintly. He likes these small stories. Places remembered not for wealth or size, but for bread, water, shade, kind people, simple comforts. That feels true somehow. Ordinary things matter most when life feels hard. Far away, evening settles over countless homes connected loosely by these roads. A mother folds clothing after supper. Children grow sleepy near warm light. A farmer washes tired hands. A blacksmith closes workshop doors. Someone somewhere tells a familiar story beside firelight. Someone else quietly misses someone far away. Life continues in thousands of small ways. Quiet ways. Unnoticed ways. Most people will never be remembered by history. Yet their lives still mattered. Their work mattered. Their tiredness mattered. Their kindness mattered. As darkness slowly arrives, the travelers prepare for sleep. Blankets spread. Fire grows smaller. Animals settle nearby. The younger traveler lies back and watches the first stars appear overhead. He notices how familiar they seem now. Steady. Reliable. Waiting every night. The older traveler rests nearby already half asleep. The sound of the stream continues quietly beside them. Soft water moving through darkness. The younger traveler feels tired enough that sleep waits close now. His body aches. His feet hurt. Yet comfort exists too. The road still stretches endlessly ahead. But tonight, for this quiet moment beside water and fading firelight, that feels alright. The wind cools. Voices fade. The stars grow brighter. And gently, little by little, another evening settles across the ancient Silk Road while the world grows quiet around tired travelers preparing once again for sleep. Night passes softly beside the stream. The fire grows smaller until only glowing embers remain, resting quietly beneath drifting ash. Travelers sleep beneath blankets still carrying the faint smell of smoke and dust. Animals rest nearby, shifting only now and then in the darkness. Above everything, the stars remain. Steady. Patient. Unmoving while tired people dream beneath them. The younger traveler wakes once during the night. Not fully. Only enough to notice the quiet. The soft sound of water nearby. Someone turning gently beneath a blanket. The faint movement of wind through leaves. Then sleep returns again. Deep and heavy. The sort of sleep that follows long labor. Morning arrives slowly. It always does. First, the sky begins changing at its edges. Darkness softens. Cool air lingers close to the ground. Birds begin small sounds somewhere hidden among branches. The stream reflects pale early light. Everything feels calm. For a short moment, before work begins again, the world rests inside silence. The older traveler wakes first today. Age has made him an early riser. Even when tired, sleep leaves him before sunrise. He sits quietly for a while beneath a blanket, rubbing warmth back into stiff hands. His knees ache this morning. Cool nights often leave soreness behind. Still, he says nothing. Discomfort feels ordinary after many years. Nearby, the younger traveler sleeps deeply. His face looks younger when resting. Less worried. Less tired somehow. Travel wears people down. But sleep, even imperfect sleep, quietly repairs something. Eventually, movement begins around camp. Someone stirs the fire. Tea starts warming. A traveler coughs softly before stretching tired shoulders. Another quietly folds blankets. Morning routines return. Always returning. The younger traveler finally wakes and sits slowly. His muscles complain immediately. Back sore. Legs tired. Feet still tender. For a moment, he almost wishes for one more hour of rest. But the road waits. The road always waits. He washes his face beside the stream. Cold water wakes him quickly. Nearby, the older traveler hands him tea without speaking much. No ceremony. Just have it now. The younger traveler smiles softly. Simple kindness grows familiar when repeated enough. Breakfast remains quiet. Bread warmed near the fire. Tea. A few dried figs shared between travelers. No one asks for more. Everyone understands the road ahead still requires energy. Before long, preparations begin again. Water skins checked carefully. Animals loaded. Supplies secured. The younger traveler notices he moves almost automatically now. His hands know what to do. The unfamiliar has slowly become routine. The older traveler notices too. He quietly says the road has begun teaching him. The younger traveler wonders if perhaps the road teaches everyone eventually. Not quickly. Never quickly. Only through repetition. One day after another. The caravan begins moving shortly after sunrise. Morning feels cool enough still. The best time for walking. The younger traveler enjoys these hours most now. The road feels quieter. Kinder. Even beautiful in simple ways. The sunlight arrives gently over hills. Birds drift overhead. The sound of footsteps settles into calm rhythm. There is peace in movement when no one rushes. As they travel, signs of changing land slowly appear. Dry ground softens in places. A few more trees rise near distant fields. Smoke curls upward far away. Somewhere nearby, people live. The Silk Road passes through many worlds. deserts, villages, river valleys, busy towns, quiet farms. Every place shaped by different weather, different work, different worries. Yet ordinary life often feels familiar. People rise early, work hard, eat simple meals, sleep tired, then begin again. Around midday, the caravan reaches a small farming settlement. Nothing large. Only a handful of homes resting near narrow fields fed by careful irrigation. Water moves through shallow channels cut into the earth. Farmers work already despite growing heat. Bent backs, slow hands, patient effort. The younger traveler watches quietly. He realizes many people here may never travel far at all. Perhaps some never leave this valley. Their world smaller in distance, yet no less full. A farmer pauses briefly to greet passing travelers. His clothes carry signs of hard labor. Dust, sweat, worn fabric. Still, his voice sounds warm. Travelers bring news. Even short conversations matter. What weather waits ahead? Are markets busy? Did distant harvests go well? The Silk Road carries stories alongside trade. One ordinary conversation at a time. The caravan pauses near the settlement to refill water. The younger traveler notices children nearby watching curiously. One little girl hides partly behind a doorway while staring openly at the camels. Another child laughs quietly after pointing toward brightly wrapped bundles. Travelers always bring mystery. Small pieces of distant places arriving briefly, before disappearing again. A woman nearby bakes flatbread over warm stone. The smell reaches the travelers quickly. Warm, familiar, comforting. The younger traveler suddenly feels hungry again. Even though morning meal was not long ago. Walking creates quiet hunger. Steady hunger. The older traveler buys fresh bread and shares part without saying much. Again, kindness arrives quietly. The bread feels warm in tired hands. Simple food, yet deeply satisfying. They rest briefly beneath shade before moving onward. The heat has grown stronger now. The world feels slower beneath midday sun. Some travelers speak less. Others walk silently, lost inside private thoughts. The younger traveler notices how easily silence feels now. Not uncomfortable. Only peaceful. There is comfort in shared quietness. Around him, the rhythm continues. Footsteps. Camel bells. Wind. Dust. The endless steady movement of people traveling between places. The road stretches onward. Always onward. Far behind them, the farming settlement returns to its routines. Fields watered. Bread baked. Children called indoors from heat. Ordinary life continuing softly. As afternoon slowly unfolds ahead, the younger traveler realizes something surprising. He no longer counts the days quite as carefully. The road still feels long. Still tiring. Yet somehow, it has begun feeling natural. Not easy, but familiar. And beneath the wide afternoon sky, the caravan continues quietly westward through another ordinary day along the ancient Silk Road. The afternoon grows warm and slow around the caravan. Sunlight rests heavily upon the land again, turning the road pale beneath steady feet. Dust rises softly behind travelers and settles quietly upon clothing already marked by many days outdoors. No one hurries. The heat discourages hurry. Even conversation becomes slower in these hours. Voices grow softer. Pauses grow longer. The younger traveler walks with his eyes lowered at times, watching the rhythm of movement around him. Sandals brushing dirt. Camel feet pressing gently into dry ground. The shadow of the caravan stretching unevenly beside them. Travel has become quieter inside him now. During the first days, his thoughts moved quickly. Worry. Uncertainty. Homesickness sharp enough to ache. But repetition changes many things. Walk long enough, and the road settles into the mind. Morning. Walking. Shade. Food. Evening. Sleep. Then morning again. Life becomes simple in difficult ways. Simple, but honest. The older traveler notices him looking calmer. Quietly, while adjusting a cloth around his shoulders, he says the road feels hardest before a person learns its rhythm. The younger traveler thinks about this for a while. Perhaps rhythm matters more than strength. The strongest traveler still grows tired. Even experienced people ache. But rhythm helps. Knowing morning always comes. Knowing rest eventually arrives. Knowing sore feet still carry people forward. Ahead, the road curves gently toward higher land. The hills grow closer now. Dry stone rises beside narrow paths worn smooth through years of travel. The caravan leader slows everyone carefully. This section asks attention. Loose stones shift easily beneath tired feet. One misplaced step matters. The younger traveler watches carefully while walking. His legs feel heavy this afternoon. Heat presses downward. Shoulders ache beneath supplies. Still, something inside him trusts the movement now. One step. Then another. The road teaches patience through repetition. Far below the hills, a narrow valley stretches quietly. Small fields rest near a thin stream where farmers continue afternoon labor despite the warmth. From a distance, their movements seem slow. Steady. Bending. Lifting. Working. Life never pauses entirely. Not for heat. Not for tiredness. Meals still need preparing. Animals still need care. Fields still ask for attention. The Silk Road depends upon countless ordinary people doing ordinary things every day. A blacksmith repairing tools. A farmer tending crops. A baker rising before sunrise. A child carrying water carefully home. History often forgets these quiet workers. Yet roads survive because of them. Eventually, the caravan reaches a shaded place near large rocks where wind moves cooler through the hills. The relief feels immediate. Everyone grows quieter with gratitude. The younger traveler sits carefully upon the ground. His legs feel tired in a deep and honest way. Not painful exactly. Just used. Worn for the day. Nearby, someone prepares tea while another traveler quietly repairs a torn sandal strap. Practical work never ends. Things wear down on long roads. Shoes. Clothing. Bodies. Everything asks care. The older traveler stretches sore knees slowly. Age speaks louder during difficult afternoons. Still, he never complains. Only pauses longer now. The younger traveler notices this more often. Quiet tiredness reveals itself in small ways. A slower step. A careful movement while standing. Hands resting a little longer. Without thinking much about it, he quietly helps gather firewood. Again, kindness arrives without announcement. No speeches. Only small actions. The older traveler notices. He smiles softly. No words needed. Tea warms slowly. The smell drifts through cool shade. Simple comfort after difficult walking. Nearby, travelers speak quietly about towns farther west. One merchant describes a city where streets remain busy long after sunset. Lanterns glowing. Voices mixing from many languages. Markets filled with cloth, spices, tools, and stories. The younger traveler listens closely. The world still feels large. Very large. Each story opens another distant place inside his imagination. Yet he notices something now. He no longer dreams only of arriving. Sometimes he simply enjoys listening. The road itself has become meaningful. Even difficult days carry something peaceful. The sound of wind through hills. The comfort of shared meals. The feeling of tiredness earned honestly. After resting, the caravan moves again. Only a few more hours before evening. The sunlight begins softening little by little. Shadows grow longer across the hills. The air cools gently. The younger traveler feels relief settle into his body. Evenings always arrive eventually. That lesson matters. No difficult afternoon lasts forever. Ahead, signs of another resting place slowly appear. A small inn built for travelers near a crossing where roads meet. Nothing grand. Only thick walls. A courtyard. Water for animals. Enough. Enough matters. The travelers arrive tired. Very tired. The younger traveler feels dust everywhere. Inside sleeves. Along his neck. Even inside his sandals somehow. Still, relief feels stronger than discomfort now. Animals are settled first. Water shared carefully. Supplies stacked. The familiar evening rhythm begins again. Inside the courtyard, another caravan already rests. New faces. Different accents. Different stories. Yet familiar exhaustion. One merchant sits rubbing sore feet while quietly drinking tea. Nearby, a woman comforts a sleepy child wrapped inside travel blankets. Tiredness looks similar everywhere. The younger traveler washes dust from his hands and face. Cool water again feels almost magical. Such small things grow precious on the road. Water. Shade. Warm bread. Rest. He notices how much less he misses comfort from home during moments like this. Not because he has forgotten. Only because new comforts have appeared. Different comforts. Temporary comforts. The older traveler joins him near a small fire after supper. Tonight there is warm stew. Fresh bread again. Tea. Simple food tastes better after long effort. For a while, they simply sit. The courtyard glows softly beneath firelight. Voices drip gently through evening air. Someone tells a quiet story nearby about losing direction during a storm many years ago. Another traveler laughs softly. Not loudly. Just enough to warm the evening. The younger traveler watches shadows move against mud brick walls. The world feels smaller here. Safe somehow. Contained for one night. Beyond these walls, endless roads continue through darkness. But tonight, the journey pauses. The older traveler quietly says something the younger traveler will remember. He says the road teaches people how little they truly need. Warm food. A place to rest. Good company. Enough water for tomorrow. Sometimes that is enough. The younger traveler looks around the courtyard. Tired faces. Simple meals. Travelers helping one another quietly. He thinks perhaps the older traveler is right. Night settles gently overhead. Stars slowly return. The courtyard grows quieter. Blankets spread. Firelight softens. The younger traveler lies down once again, tired in body but calmer in spirit than when this journey first began. Outside, the old roads remain patient beneath the night sky, waiting softly for morning and the next quiet day of ordinary lives moving steadily across the ancient Silk Road. The night settles softly around the roadside inn. Inside the courtyard, firelight fades little by little until only quiet embers remain glowing near the stones. Travelers rest beneath blankets spread carefully across worn ground. The air feels cooler here among the hills, and the tired warmth of the day finally loosens its hold. Somewhere nearby, an animal shifts gently in sleep. A traveler turns beneath folded cloth. Then stillness returns again. The younger traveler sleeps deeply tonight. Long roads often bring heavy sleep. The body grows too tired for restless thoughts. Dreams come quietly. Sometimes strange. Sometimes familiar. A memory of home drifting together with unfamiliar roads. A kitchen remembered beside a distant desert sky. The sound of family voices mixing strangely with camel bells and moving wind. Sleep changes memories softly. Before sunrise, the older traveler wakes. He always wakes early now. Years of travel have shaped his mornings into habit. Even when tired, he rises before the light fully arrives. For a while, he simply sits quietly. The courtyard still sleeps. Above him, the stars remain clear between the dark shapes of walls. He wraps a cloth around his shoulders against the cool air. Mornings in the hills often feel colder than travelers expect. His knees ache today. Yesterday's uneven road still rests heavily in his body. He stretches slowly. Patiently. Age asks patience from everyone eventually. Nearby, another traveler already tends a small cooking fire. Tea warms softly. The familiar smell begins moving through cool morning air. Soon, one by one, people begin waking. Not suddenly. Never suddenly. Morning unfolds gently here. A merchant rubs sleep from tired eyes. A woman folds blankets while her child still sleeps nearby. Someone yawns deeply before reaching for sandals left beside a wall. The younger traveler finally wakes to the quiet sound of moving voices. For a moment, he forgets where he is again. Then memory settles. The hills. The inn. Another day of walking. His body feels sore immediately. A soreness so familiar now that he almost welcomes it. Proof of movement. Proof of distance traveled. He sits slowly and watches the morning. The sky changes color little by little. Dark blue softens. Gray spreads gently. Then pale gold appears along the horizon. The world feels peaceful before full daylight arrives. He likes this hour. No heat yet. No difficult walking. Only quiet preparation. Tea waits nearby. Warm and comforting. The older traveler hands him a cup without speaking much. Simple habits have formed between them. No need for many words. The younger traveler drinks slowly. Warmth spreads through tired hands. Nearby, travelers quietly prepare for departure. Blankets folded. Supplies checked. Animals watered. Morning routines repeated so often they feel almost effortless now. The younger traveler notices how naturally he moves through these tasks. Weeks ago, everything felt confusing. Too many unfamiliar steps. Too many unknown routines. Now his hands remember. The road teaches through repetition. Not quickly. Never quickly. Only through ordinary days repeating themselves until strange things feel ordinary. Outside the inn, dawn spreads wider. The hills begin glowing softly beneath early sunlight. Cool wind still moves gently through the road. The caravan leader seems pleased. Good weather today. At least for now. Weather always matters. Too much heat exhausts everyone. Strong winds cover roads in dust. Heavy rain turns crossings difficult. Travelers learn respect for the sky. Soon, the caravan moves onward once more. The inn slowly disappears behind them. Ahead, the road bends through rising hills where stone pathways narrow between rough earth and scattered brush. Morning walking feels easier. The younger traveler breathes deeply. The air feels clean here. Cooler somehow. The sounds of footsteps settle into familiar rhythm again. Step. Dust. Wind. Camel bells. Quiet voices fading in and out. He realizes something as they walk. The road no longer feels endless in the frightening way it once did. Still long. Still uncertain. But not frightening. He understands now that roads are crossed slowly. One morning at a time. One tired evening at a time. No traveler sees the whole journey at once. Only today's distance. Only today's work. Far below, near the edge of the hills, a small farming village begins waking too. Smoke rises from rooftops. A farmer walks toward narrow fields carrying tools over one shoulder. His day begins early. Always early. Water must be guided carefully through irrigation channels before heat grows stronger. Nearby, a woman kneads dough while listening to sleepy children speak softly beside the doorway. Bread will soon bake. Animals fed. Water carried. Simple routines repeated quietly. The Silk Road touches many lives, even for those who never travel it. Travelers stop for bread. Merchants trade grain. News arrives from distant places. A village far from great cities still feels connected in quiet ways. Back upon the road, the younger traveler notices patches of green appearing more often. A small orchard here. Narrow fields there. Signs of water hidden nearby. The land changes slowly. He enjoys watching change happen. Deserts becoming valleys. Quiet roads becoming villages. Dry winds turning cool near rivers. The world feels larger now than he once imagined. Yet gentler too. Around midday, the caravan pauses beside a shaded resting place where an old well stands surrounded by worn stone. Travelers clearly know this place. The stones show years of use. Hands pulling water. Animals stopping briefly. People resting tired feet before moving on again. The younger traveler kneels beside the well and splashes water across his face. Coolness feels deeply comforting. Nearby, someone begins preparing food again. Bread. Cheese. Tea warming slowly. Ordinary meals. Yet hunger always makes them welcome. An older merchant sitting nearby quietly speaks of roads farther west where markets grow busier and languages blend together like moving rivers. The younger traveler listens while eating. He enjoys stories now. Not because they hurry the road. Only because they make the world feel alive. So many people walking different paths. So many ordinary lives unfolding quietly beyond the horizon. As the warm afternoon begins slowly arriving again, tiredness settles softly over the travelers. Some close their eyes briefly beneath shade. Others sit quietly with thoughts drifting wherever long roads carry them. The younger traveler leans back against cool stone. The road still asks much from him. Sore feet. Dust. Patience. Yet something inside feels steadier now. As though the journey itself has begun shaping him little by little. Above them, the sky stretches calm and wide while somewhere far away bread bakes in village ovens, farmers bend over fields, children laugh beside dusty paths, and another ordinary day moves gently forward across the ancient Silk Road. Afternoon arrives quietly beside the old well. The shade feels precious now. Sunlight rests heavily across the road beyond, turning stones warm and dry beneath the wide sky. The travelers remain seated for a while longer, grateful for the pause. No one seems eager to stand. Long roads ask patience. And tired bodies know the value of resting when rest appears. The younger traveler leans against the worn stone wall surrounding the well. Its surface feels cool against his back. He closes his eyes briefly. Not sleeping. Only listening. Water being pulled slowly upward. A rope rubbing softly against old stone. Someone speaking quietly nearby. The faint sound of wind moving through dry grass. Simple sounds. Comforting sounds. The older traveler sits nearby drinking tea that has already begun cooling. His hands rest around the cup carefully. Years of travel have taught him something important. Take comfort when comfort arrives. Shade never lasts forever. Neither does cool air. Neither does rest. The road eventually calls again. Nearby, another traveler quietly removes one sandal and studies a sore foot with patient disappointment. The younger traveler notices how ordinary this feels now. Sore feet. Dry lips. Dust resting everywhere. These things once felt unbearable. Now they simply feel part of the day. Like morning sunlight. Or evening hunger. The body changes when life repeats itself enough times. Eventually, the caravan leader rises. No loud announcement. Only a quiet movement understood by everyone. It is time again. Slowly, people gather belongings. Water skins checked. Animals prepared. Blankets folded. No one rushes. There is no point rushing. The younger traveler stands carefully. His legs protest at first. Then loosen little by little. Movement helps. Movement always helps. The road continues west. Through low hills now touched by afternoon light. The air feels warmer again, though softer than the hard heat of midday. Wind moves quietly between rocks. Small birds disappear suddenly into distant brush. The younger traveler notices everything more these days. How sunlight changes color through afternoon. How tiredness arrives gradually. How even silence feels different depending on the hour. The road teaches observation. There is time for little else. Beside him, the older traveler walks without speaking for a while. Companionship on the road often grows quiet. Some friendships no longer need constant conversation. Only presence. Only shared distance. Eventually, the older traveler quietly says something. He says every traveler learns to stop fighting tiredness. The younger traveler looks over. The older traveler explains softly. At first, people become angry at discomfort. At dust. At heat. At sore muscles. But eventually, people stop resisting. And strangely, things feel easier. The younger traveler thinks carefully about this. Perhaps he understands. The road still feels difficult. Yet less heavy somehow. Not because it changed. Because he changed. Far below the hills, signs of another village slowly appear. Thin trails of smoke. Fields arranged carefully beside a stream. Animals moving slowly in open land. The younger traveler notices something now whenever villages appear. Relief. Not excitement exactly. Only quiet relief. A place to stop. Water. Food. Human voices. The feeling of walls after open sky. As they move closer, late afternoon labor still continues. Farmers bend over fields despite growing tiredness. A boy guides several goats toward home. An older woman gathers laundry carefully before evening wind rises. The village moves through familiar rhythms. Work finishing. Meals beginning. Children growing sleepy. Travelers arriving. The caravan enters slowly. Dust follows behind them. No one pays much attention at first. Villages along these roads often see strangers come and go. Still, a few curious faces glance toward the caravan. Children especially. Travel always seems mysterious to those who stay in one place. The younger traveler wonders briefly what it would feel like to watch travelers instead of becoming one. Would he seem different now? Worn by dust. Darker from sunlight. Walking with slower, steadier movements. Perhaps. The caravan settles inside a shared resting yard near several homes. Simple space. Nothing grand. A water trough. Low walls. Enough room. Enough matters. The younger traveler helps unload supplies. His shoulders ache deeply now. The sort of tiredness that settles quietly into muscles after many days repeated the same way. Nearby, villagers continue evening routines. The smell of baking bread spreads softly through cooling air. Someone chops vegetables near a doorway. A shepherd returns with animals moving lazily behind him. Life folds itself gently toward evening. The younger traveler notices how much he enjoys these quiet hours now. The slowing of everything. The relief carried inside sunset. The promise of rest. Soon supper begins. Simple again. Always simple. Bread. Warm lentils. Tea. Perhaps a few dates. Nothing rich. Yet hunger welcomes ordinary things. The younger traveler eats beside the older traveler. Nearby, merchants exchange quiet news. A crossing farther west remains safe. A town ahead expects market crowds soon. Someone mentions cooler weather beyond distant hills. Roads carry information as steadily as goods. Stories travel. Warnings travel. Hope travels too. After eating, many travelers simply sit. Too tired for much else. Someone repairs torn fabric beneath fading light. Another quietly rubs aching knees. The younger traveler watches smoke drift upward into evening sky. He thinks again of home. Not painfully tonight. Only gently. He misses familiar things. Yet he notices something surprising. The road no longer feels temporary. Not entirely. For now, this too feels like life. The older traveler notices his quiet expression. Softly, he says something simple. He says people belong to places for a while. Then roads. Then new places again. Nothing stays exactly the same. The younger traveler watches evening settle over the village. Perhaps that feels true. The sky darkens slowly. Cool air returns. Doors close one by one. Voices grow softer. The courtyard settles into sleepy quiet. Blankets spread again. Animals rest nearby. The younger traveler lies down beneath familiar stars. His body feels deeply tired. His mind calmer than before. The road still stretches onward beyond tomorrow. But tonight feels enough. Warm food eaten. Water nearby. Companionship close. And gently, beneath the patient night sky, another ordinary evening settles softly across the ancient Silk Road while tired travelers drift slowly toward sleep. The road grows quiet. Very quiet. The last fire rests softly inside fading embers, warm for only a little while longer. Around the sleeping yard, tired travelers breathe slowly beneath worn blankets. Animals settle into stillness. Somewhere nearby, wind moves gently through trees that have stood patiently beside these roads for many years. The younger traveler remains awake for a few moments longer. Not because worry keeps him from sleep. Only because the night feels peaceful. The stars above seem familiar now. Not distant. Not strange. Steady companions watching over many long evenings. He thinks softly of all the roads behind him. Dusty mornings. Warm bread shared beside quiet fires. Villages waking before sunrise. The sound of water after difficult afternoons. The older traveler sitting nearby through so many silent evenings. Simple things. Ordinary things. The kinds of moments history often forgets. Yet perhaps these quiet moments mattered most. The Silk Road was never only camels crossing deserts or merchants carrying precious goods. It was tired workers kneading dough before sunrise. Farmers bending beneath warm light. Children watching travelers pass with sleepy curiosity. Hands repairing sandals. Voices exchanging stories over evening meals. People carrying homesickness quietly inside them while still moving forward. Ordinary lives. Small kindnesses. Shared tiredness. The steady rhythm of people simply living. And somewhere far away, beyond hills and rivers, more villages settle into sleep. A baker rests tired hands before tomorrow's work begins again. A fisherman folds away nets. A shepherd closes tired eyes. A family gathers beneath soft lamplight before silence gently fills the room. Across the ancient world, countless ordinary lives drift softly into rest beneath the same patient sky. The younger traveler finally closes his eyes. Tomorrow, the road will continue. As roads always do. Morning will arrive quietly. Tea will warm beside fading embers. Dust will rise again beneath steady feet. But for now, none of that matters. Tonight asks only for stillness. Only for rest. The wind cools gently. The stars remain overhead. The world grows softer. quieter, heavier somehow, as though even history itself has grown sleepy. And beside the long and ancient roads of the Silk Road, night settles completely at last. Quiet river water moves softly through darkness. Warm earth cools beneath moonlight. The last voices fade. The last lamps dim. And slowly, gently, the old world becomes still. Very still. Until there is only the quiet feeling of night resting peacefully over the land. And somewhere in the distance, beneath endless stars, the road waits patiently for morning.